Hello everyone, welcome to the Wonderland Dreams set review brought to you by ManaSurge. I'm joined here today with
iseestars.
Glassfists.
JaZe.
And me, Beyond. Alright.
Alright. How are you guys doing today?
I can't wait
Good.
to open packs.
Yeah, I mean, it's still maintenance right now, so we are just kind of doing this review in the downtime. Since everyone's kind of waiting around, we might as well just do a set review.
Yeah, so
Stars.
we just want to have
Yes.
like a few disclaimers before we start this card review. This card review is going to be mainly for competitive play, mostly. We're not going to talk about like Take Two or anything along those lines. And this is still like early into the expansion, so this stuff will change within like the next week or so. But yeah, so did you guys want to talk about the nerfs that just happened recently, or they're about to happen?
Alright, so with that, Shadowverse side games are just recently announced in Nerf during the maintenance, so we have two changes. First off, Shadow Reapers will be nerfed to a 3 cost, and Test of Strength will be has its text entirely changed. So maybe you can just like go through a little bit. So maybe JaZe, you can tell us what do you think about how these cards will kind of change the decks and how they are played.
Yeah, sure. So people have been complaining about needing an Ecto nerf for a long time, but I think the Shadow Reaper hit is actually significantly harder because a lot of Shadow's game against control decks was its ability to do about 10 damage, let's say, with Shadow Reaper on your big Ector turns. So now that Shadow Reaper costs that extra point of mana, it'll be impossible to do some of the insane openings that Shadow has been famous for, like turn 2 anything, turn 3 Chimera into turn 4 Double Reaper, or to play Shadow Reaper and Prince of Catacombs on turn 6 and get a huge hit in with Ector on the next turn. So I think this is actually a better place to nerf than Ector, and you get to leave your legendaries untouched. I really like this change.
Alright, so how about Stars and Glass? Like, do the both of you feel the same way, or do you think that,
To be honest, I don't think the Shadow Reaper nerf is really going to do that much, simply because you never play Shadow Reaper on 2. And upping its mana cost to 3, I mean, it makes it less flexible, but I don't feel that that's really going to be doing a whole lot. The main issue with Shadow is the ability to generate shadows so easily for cards like Ector, Death's Breath, etc. And I think unless Ector's Necromancy cost gets increased, Shadow will still always be relatively dominant just because of Ector. And another thing I have is the nerf to Test of Strength was completely unnecessary, simply because 90% of Aegis decks right now don't even run Test of Strength. They run the Storm package. So all that does is it just nerfs the control Aegis decks that already don't really exist to begin with.
Alright, Glass, how about you?
I think that the nerf is good because of the way that the format will be changing. The nerf's kind of at an odd time, so because of the new set dropping, it might be that the Shadow decks will be running a little bit differently. But overall, I think moving Reaper on the curve and moving Catacombs on the curve changes how the deck sort of, like Stars said, the deck's flexibility. As for cards like Ektar, I'm just tired of my head being taken. I can't take his head. He takes mine. The deck has a lot of like that kind of play to it, and where they have a big board with Death's Breath, and if you don't remove the whole thing, then all of your guys get run over. They've chipped you away until they can get you with Phantom Howl. So I would have liked to see Ektar changed a little bit, but that's all right. I think that with that nerf and with the new cards coming out, Shadow will be maybe less seen than it is now.
Yeah, based on my observations, they've already nerfed Catacomb once, and now that they are also nerfing Shadow Reaper, I guess they're just kind of like increasing the cost for all the cards in the lower curve so that you don't really get to spam the board as much as well. So let's see if the new cards in Wonderland Dreams will make a difference in the whole meta game as well. Okay, so with that, maybe Sunfire, could you bring us to the next segment of the show where we'll finally go through all the cards?
Yes. Okay, so we're first going to go through the neutral cards, starting off with Explosion. What do you guys think about this card?
I think this card is a playable effect, but the problem is that most classes that need this kind of effect already have a card that does the same thing, but better.
And also, 3 damage for 7 mana is incredibly under. It's literally only good. It's kind of like when they released all of the 2 damage effects to counter Otahime. I feel like this is to target Shadow.
Yes, this is 100% to counter Shadow, specifically Death's Breath, with those pesky zombie war minions.
I think that, like they mentioned, like Demonic Storm doesn't see any play, and that also hits their face and helps enable Vengeance. A lot of the classes that do have board wipes don't really need it, and the classes that don't have board wipes don't really want it. Like, you're not going to play a card like this in, for instance, a deck like Forest that doesn't really have the late game board wipe outside of Will of the Forest. So I don't think it'll see any play, but memes will be memes. It's got sweet art.
Yeah, with the Humpty Dumpty. Yeah, I also feel that the costs are a tad bit too high. Like most classes that can't need a board wipe already have their own alternatives. So yeah, I think that's about it.
Yeah, speaking of cost, I feel like if this was 6, it would have been a little bit more playable, but at 7 mana, I don't really see anybody playing this competitively.
I can agree with that. Have you seen Wrath Drake? That card's real good.
Yeah, that card just recently started to see competitive play towards the end of Tempest. Okay, was
Not
that
much else to say on that?
was that everyone's opinion on Explosion?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna move on to Ephemera, Angelic Slacker. It is a 4-mana 1/3 with Ambush, with the effect whenever another allied follower attacks, give that follower +1/+0 until the end of the turn. What do you guys feel about this?
Card's gonna be a game changer for aggro deck, because the biggest thing that most aggro decks don't have a productive turn 4 play if they're going first, outside of Swordcraft, who has Geno. And this allows you, especially since this expansion wants to push all the neutral synergy, it allows aggro decks to not only just push more damage, but also trade up.
I do agree with that. Because of the place on the curve, at 4 it's pretty good. I don't know how many I'd want because of its late game sort of like relevance, but because you're aggro, you kind of do get to ignore late game irrelevance for the late game being absolutely over already. And the ambush is very powerful. I'm not so sure the sizing of the card will wind up making it super great, but it looks like the kind of thing you can slot in at least like the ambush decks anyways. It already fits the rest of the theme. JaZe, did you have any other things you'd want to mention on it?
The first thing I see when I look at this card is that it reminds me a lot of Royal Banner, which was a card that saw a lot of play during the early parts of Shadowverse, but hasn't really been seen so much since then. It provides the same effect of giving all of your followers an extra point of attack, and actually at the same mana cost of 4. But I think the main reason Royal Banner saw any play at all was because it provided a very important commander trait on your board that couldn't be removed by any sort of AoE. And this card not doing that makes me worry that it's not strong enough, because it effectively, with 1 attack, it effectively is just an amulet.
Well,
Right,
I mean, also, Elf Knight Cynthia has like seen quite a bit of play as well, and has a similar effect, just in the neutral slot.
Sure, but Cynthia provides value. She provides the board that she's going to buff, and she also makes a permanent buff, which adds up to a lot more damage.
Well, the thing is, this is basically like a flame tongue totem type thing. It's a win more card. If you're losing the game already, this isn't going to change. But if you're already blowing your opponent out, it's just going to snowball you. This card's really only going to be playing aggro.
Yeah. I mean, they're mostly cards on, especially in 4-cost. There are two kinds of cards, right? There are the cards that do very well when you're going first because there's no evolution point, so you can like kind of make use of whatever fair abilities that they have, as well as there are also cards that are not as good, but they are very good on turn 4 when you're going second because you can make use of the evolution, like like Cartgill and stuff like that. So I guess Inferior, she's more of a good card when you're going first because you don't really have an evolution point anyway, and that's like a very good perfect fit in aggressive decks as well.
How about the next card?
Okay, so the next card on the agenda is Goblin Leader. It is a 3-mana 1/2 that summons a goblin at the end of your turn.
I'm not buying it.
Yeah, I'm not buying it.
This card is exactly Ascetic Knight, except that if they leave the Goblin Leader up, it can create more goblins. Ascetic Knight is not a card that sees play. I'm not really seeing this card be very competitive.
The Evolver is sweet. That's it, though.
When you think about it, it's a 3-mana 2/4 spread across 2 bodies. It's not terrible, but I just don't think it's quite good enough.
Yeah, it's
just a token generator pretty much.
And it doesn't. Big thing. It doesn't really help with Woodland Band because that card you're probably going to be playing goblins with that card anyways. So it's not like it gives you another type for Woodland Band. So I'm just not buying it. Art's fine though. Looks okay. Not putting it in my deck.
Same. Okay, so the next card is going to be Angelic Knight. I personally think this card is really good for aggressive decks. It's probably one of the better neutral cards in my opinion. What do you guys feel about this?
As an aggro main, I think it's good. It's not as good as Grimnir, obviously, but what this can do is if you're going second, you can pump your own 2/2 and break through your opponent's Grimnir while also protecting your 1-drop, which aggressive wards are always good in aggro, so I do think that this will see play at least as maybe like a 2 of, if not a 3 of, in most aggro decks.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think because it beats down Grimnir, it's pretty good because it's competing with Grimnir on that slot. So in aggro, it does fill that kind of hole. The ward is very useful on it, and the +1/+0 makes it slightly better than Grimnir on like turn 9. So when you just need that 1 point of damage and Grimnir is not there for you, maybe it'll help. But for the most part, I think that a lot of lists are going to still be playing Grimnir. The aggro decks will pick it up though, some of them.
I think this card is very similar to Angel of the Word, a card that sees a fair bit of play. Basically, if you're curving out, this card can do a lot more damage than Angel of the Word because it can buff one of your cards and then protect that card as it hits face over and over again. But Angel of the Word is a lot more flexible in that it can finish off a 1 health follower. We'll see which one turns out to be the more common choice moving forward.
I mean, as ManaSurge, we're going to play Grimnir. That's not even a question. It's not even close.
What about you, Bjorn? Do you have any opinions about this card?
I guess everyone pretty much said about it. There's really nothing much else to add on because, typical local aggressive defensive card in a way that protects all your other aggressors. So it's a pretty decent card, but like we say, there's always Angel of the Ward and Grimnir vying for the spot. So we might see it in play, but you'll have to see if there are also better cards and And do we really need to like pack more lower drops in the deck like this right now?
Yeah, well, we'll see about it. The next card is Lion Champion. It is a 6 mana 4/5 with a ward. Whenever this follower is attacked, you gain a +1/+1.
This card is sick. I love it. I have a question. Have you ever died to Ektar? Yeah, do that math. It's so good against Ektar and Phantom Howl and shutting down aggression, and it comes down on a turn that's like pretty relevant because people are starting to get those like bigger, swingier turns going where if they're an aggro deck, they're going to be attacking with a lot of minions because you're trying to vie for board space. It looks like it's going to. I mean, I'm gonna try it out. It seems like it's a pretty powerful way to shut down some aggression, and even against some of the mid-rangier threats, it's gonna hold its own because of the buffs. Plus, if your opponent has a board state where they can't get through it with their aggressive cards, it's going to stay in play, so they can't attack into it because then they're gonna give you like an 8/2, and then they're gonna get chopped. So that's pretty much my opinion on it. I think it'll probably see some control play. If there are neutral decks that want to be picking it up, then they're going to be picking it up for sure. JaZe, what do you think? Is it like similar? Think maybe not so much?
I think this card is a little bit weak because generally, if you're paying 6 mana for a card, you want it to do more than the average statted, because if this gets attacked only once, it's only going to be a 5/6 ward for 6 mana, and that's generally not good enough. If we see a lot of token-based aggro decks, like maybe lots of fairies and lots of goblins, this card might see some play, but even then, I think you can find a better thing to do with your 6 mana.
I personally think that this card is just the worst version of Aurelia.
I personally like this card.
It's basically Aurelia. It's Aurelia that dies the dance of death.
Yeah, pretty much.
Basically.
But I want 6 Aurelias.
Aurelia doesn't even see play right now.
Don't talk to me like that.
I like the turn in which it comes down, because like 6 mana, like you got to deal with like Luminous Mage, Alwetas, Air Jammer, Death Breath, stuff like that. I think it could be like alright. Definitely not the worst, but I wouldn't call it the best.
But personally, I think it feels more like a tech card. Like if the meta environment calls for a lot of more aggressive token-based decks, then you probably see this card in play. But other than that, I don't think you'll see it in play.
Okay, and with that, we'll move on to Actress Faria, the 2-mana 2/2. That when it evolves, it gives +1/+1 to all other allied neutral followers.
And it's a vanilla 2/2 with a half decent Evo effect. Pretty standard for expansion.
Vanilla 2/2s are good. Go ahead, JaZe.
Oh yeah, you're gonna want a lot of neutral 2-drops in your deck, and this is one of the decent ones. I can think. I'm pretty sure you will never play this card over Lyrial, but if we're an aggressive deck, maybe you play this over something like Unica. So it might see play in that slot. I think the evolve effect is a little bit too unreliable to count on, though. You're not going to have that many neutral followers in play when you're trying to evolve your 2-drops.
I feel like this would be good in the situation, like for example, like if you put this in Sword and then use the card that summons the 3 club, or like the 3 suit knights, that might potentially be good. But besides that, yeah, it's really just like a filler card that will probably see some play. Well, actually, most definitely he'll see some play.
I think that it might rotate it in and out, but other than that, like, the Evo's fine. Like they mentioned, it's a neutral 2/2 for 2, so it's just people are already playing cards like this. It's just, is this ability going to be better than, you know, gaining 2 life with a Unica, possibly getting a ping with a Lyrial? I'm gonna vote probably no and probably no. But
yeah, agreeable. It's probably just a Unica replacement, depending on if you want to be more defensive or aggressive. That's about it.
Okay, and now we're gonna move on to probably one of the most interesting cards in the expansion, Into the Looking Glass. It is a spell for 2 mana. It draws you a card, and it changes all the cards in your hand that cost 7 play points or less into neutral cards. What do you think about this, Bjorn?
I have no idea, man. I mean, like for 2-cost draw is always good. So I guess in a way it's alright. And then changing all your cards in hand that cost 7 into a neutral card, I guess it's pretty much just creates more synergy for a neutral base deck, more or less. I mean we have like neutral lists that's being theory crafted over time, and sometimes you do see cards like this being played. So I don't know what the rest think. Like JaZe, what do you think?
I think this card is generally quite bad because the main reason you're going to put this into a deck is because you're trying to trigger your neutral effects, but not have to play that many neutral cards. And if you're doing that, that basically means you're relying on drawing a spell that can't be tutored in any way in order for your cards to actually do anything. I think that makes for a very bad deck. The only time I could see this seeing play is if you had, say, a forest neutral deck, and that deck doesn't have the easiest time cutting all its great forest cards, and maybe you put some fairies into your hand and you say, now these are neutral and I'm going to hold on to them for the rest of the game so I can trigger all of my silly neutral cards. Maybe that's good enough.
I think that's probably reasonable just in that location, but you're missing out. Tilting with Windmills is in the set. There's possibility for some sort of give my weird 7 play point minion storm shenanigans. But other than the shenanigans and possibly forest enablers, I don't think that it'll see a lot of play. 2 is just such an important turn to be like getting on the board or trying to set up for something like super important. You can't really afford to just like be cycling, and so I don't think it'll see much.
I'd like to note that I do have a spicy meme planned for this one where I play Into the Looking Glass with a handful of fairies and then play Alice to buff them all and Fairy Driver to send them all directly to face.
Ooh,
Sounds
spicy
juicy.
memes.
That deck sounds terrible, but I will try it.
Not the first Fairy Driver meme.
I feel like this card would also see play in D Shift. This will probably replace Trail of Light, to be honest. It's like the same effect. It just has like a kind of upside.
Is the upside the art? Is that what you're talking about? Is
Yes.
the upside art?
Yes, the
I'm not
upside is
playing any neutral
100% the
enablers.
art.
Okay, it's better than Trail of Light because of the art. Confirmed. I agree. What do we have coming up next? I assume that's all we've got.
We got Gruff, Mountaineer Captain. It is a 5-mana 3/5 with Rush. Whenever this follower attacks an enemy follower with at least 5 attack, this follower can't be damaged until the end of the turn.
I think this is probably one of the best rush minions that's ever been released in this game. The main use I'm gonna say here is probably cleaning up Finas.
Ooh, we're
Because I
right
don't
on
think
the same page.
OTK Roach isn't gonna go away. It's never going away. So
I think that we're exactly on the same page. I thought that I saw it and I was like, the stats look pretty good. And then I saw it evos to a 5/7 instead of a 5/6, like a lot of them do. And I was like, ooh, we did it. It kills Fina. And not only is Fina a really good OTK Roach, but like it's a possibility that with all the neutral craft enablers going on, Fina's just a good option for always having neutral cards in your hand. You can hold the Goblin Mage and then use it for later. So I think that being able to clear Fina is pretty good. Plus, a lot of the evolves on that turn do get beat down by this guy. It slots pretty well in like a neutral position. I'm also happy that they printed a non-waifu card. There's got to be more husbandos in the game, and you know,
Yeah, I
this
gotta say,
mountain climber guy will
this guy's
fill that bill.
pretty cut.
His teeth are glistening. Look at that. There's a sparkle in his mouth.
Yeah. And then it's on the fingers on the airball form.
So what about you, Bjorn? What do you think about this card?
Like they say, it's very good for cleanups, I feel, and of course it gets rid of Fina and things like that. But I'm not sure what kind of decks it will actually fit into. Does it have to be like a very is it gonna just fit into Sword where you just have another rush minion to do all the trading, or do you actually make a deck solely just with neutrals to try and like play around it?
Secret tech, sword deck. You're correct.
Yeah.
Any deck that says Swordcraft on the front of it's already good, so I'm in.
I feel like you guys covered this
JaZe?
pretty well.
Yeah. That's about it on that one.
JaZe, did you have anything to add to this?
Oh, given how hard it is to deal with an evolved Albert to face on turn 5, I can see a lot of lines of play where you evolve this. You get to kill something on their board, and what you're left with is essentially the same card as an evolved Albert. And maybe that's something that you're interested in, because a lot of decks cannot do 5 damage on their turn 5, or deal 7 damage. Sorry, yeah, this thing has 7 health when you evolve it. So it might see play in a deck that lacks great 5-drops and really wants to maintain board control. I can't think of a class at the moment that does that right now, because Sword has obviously great 5-drops, and most of the other classes would rather do something better on their turn 5 than play something that has a lot of good stats going for it.
Okay, so the card coming up next is Snow Whitecat Sage. It is a 5-mana 3/4 with Fanfare. Draw a card, give +1/+1 to another allied follower.
I mean,
hate the name.
Same.
It's got the same stats as Fina, and it cycles. It's a tiny buff. I mean, it's all right. It's just that it feels like it's trying to do too many things, and it's not really that great at any specific role.
Yep. I hate the name because there's already a Snow White in the set where you don't have that right. Plus, like you said, it does a lot of things, but it doesn't do anything particularly well. On 5 in like Haven, which is where I would maybe play it, you have a bunch of other good options, so I don't think that it's going to see a ton of play. It just doesn't do enough. It does everything, it just doesn't do anything well, I think.
I think this card is great, and we'll see a lot of play on the backs of my cards. Hopefully, side games. Hopefully. I don't know about actually putting one into my deck.
Yeah, I just feel that there are just too many other cards that are better than this card right now. So unless it's like some neutral-oriented card, neutral-oriented deck, I don't think we'll see it as well.
Now
Looks
we have
good card sleeves confirmed.
Rapunzel. It's a 3-mana 2/5. It cannot attack when played or at the start of your turn. Whenever another allied follower has attacked this turn, it can attack until the end of the turn. How do you guys feel about this card?
I think this is actually going to be really good in aggro, because it's an overstatted 3-drop, like the best statted 3-drop we've seen outside of maybe Zoe. And aggro is always going to have the board. So I think this card actually might be a 3-of in most aggro decks.
I think that not only is it good in aggro decks because it's easy to enable, but it gives you sort of like a pinch point where you can play a Rapunzel and pass, and then the next turn you have this minion that threatens board control versus your opponent's wards because it doesn't really get beat up. So you can like trade it into a Grimnir and it doesn't feel bad, and because of the other follower having to attack, you sort of get to clear their wards for free for a little while, sort of like an elongated burn spell for wards, or it just gets to trade really efficiently. Also, she can't attack unless somebody lets her hair down, which I like.
Okay, for me, I feel that this card will definitely see play, especially in aggressive neutral decks like I think it will fit very, very well, especially in like aggro Shadowcraft decks where, instead of playing all the usual like shadow cards for the low drops, you just play all the neutral cards, and then you can just keep the board sticky with the usual Prince Catacomb, and then finish with Actor and cards like that.
I also think this card is going to be pretty solid in aggro. It's just like a hard to kill, meaning that will probably force an answer out of your opponent, and if it doesn't, they take like 2 damage to the face. It's pretty good.
10-turn clock, man.
Yeah, 10-turn clock. Woo.
I've seen uglier 10-turn clocks. I don't know.
JC, do you have anything to add to this card?
I am going. If this card is good and I have it in my deck, I am going to be sitting there on turn 4 with an Evo point and no board and crying because this thing cannot attack.
Oh no!
Even if you Evo it into something else.
Yeah, I mean that's the only downside, right?
I am actually going to sit there and probably cry because this is just so miserable. But yes, I think the card is quite reasonable. I think it'll see play in neutral sword. I'm not sure where else.
I think it'll maybe get seen some play in Aggro Dragon, possibly, but Aggro Dragon has a lot of other cards. They're similar to this. They're very hard to kill that we'll probably get to later on in this review. But up next is probably one of the best like neutral cards in my personal opinion, and that is Hector. How do you guys feel about this?
It's got some of the best art in the expansion.
Yeah, he is fabulous.
Sweet. Are you kidding? Do you see those legs? Yeah. No, this card's actually insane, though. It's got a lot of... if you can get the synergies off, this card is really good. And if you don't get the synergies off, it's actually terrible. So I think it's going to be good because the decks that have at least 3 neutrals are like pretty hard lined on just playing like neutrals and being sort of aggressive and using all of the new cards to make your deck a little bit more well-rounded. And I think that the deal 3 damage to an enemy effect is just so powerful. The problem is that the late game burn is hard to come by, and if you top deck this and you're like, yeah, I just need 3 damage, you draw a Hector, you just feel terrible. So again, more Fields Badsy cards, but
the issue is that the 5-drop slot is already one of the most hotly contested slots in most decks. Let's see, Sword you have Albert and Luminous Mage, Forest you have Fina, then Dragon you have Sybil, and just the list goes on. Every class already has a really strong 5-drop, and I don't know if this card, it's good, but I don't know if it's good enough to place those 5-drops.
I think this card is actually good enough. I think this card is the biggest payoff that you can see in neutral for playing all those other neutral cards. It might be very hard to get that trigger off on turn 5. Keeping 3 neutral cards is probably not as easy as it sounds, but this is so worth the effort because I think of all those cards that you just listed, except maybe Sybil, I think I'd rather play this card if I could guarantee its effect going off.
You'd rather play this than an on-curved Evoed Albert to face?
Yes. Remember that this can go face, and it doesn't eat your Evo point.
That's only 3 damage over
5. I think this card is... I think I'd rather play this card on 5 than an Evo Albert face, yes.
Yeah, I mean, not forgetting it has ward, so it kind of protects your board as well. The Fanfare does not trigger as often. So, but then again, yeah, I mean, if you're in the aggressive decks, you probably just want cards like Albert and whatnot. And even cards like Fina, which is technically a neutral card, you probably just play Fina over Hector, right? I mean, you get to tutor a lot more low drops to just try and like flood the board and try and push for more damage as well.
You can play Fina over Hector, but can you play Hector over Actor?
Why not both? Glassfists.
Because neutral cards are hard, dude. I don't know. You can make Actor a neutral card into the looking glass. What do we got up next there, son?
We got the first legendary card in this review, and it's going to be Alice, a Wonderland Explorer, a 4-mana 3/4 with the Fanfare effect. Give +1/+1 to all other allied neutral followers in your hand and in play.
So here's another huge payoff card for that neutral deck. This is a Sage Commander that gets played on turn 4, which is definitely no joke, because if you're going first, your opponent hasn't had an Evo point yet to counteract anything on your board. Plus, this buffs all of your future plays, making this actually even stronger. So you can play Alice, and then your next turn, let's say your Fina, is going to be a 6/7 when evolved, which is monstrous, and then the card you play after that is going to be even bigger, and that's going to create some huge tempo swings that are really hard to deal with.
Yeah, this card's busted.
Yeah, it's just so good for like aggro neutral decks. Like, you know, we were talking about Rapunzel earlier on. Imagine like Rapunzel being like a 3/6 after that. It's just so huge.
I agree. I think that the card is obviously printed to push neutral craft into a position where you can like play an Alice and then you can curve out. Like Fina's ability to curve is already super huge versus the aggro decks. You get like a pretty sizable advantage. So being able to curve this in is just going to feel really good. Time will tell how much of the neutral play we'll see, but we can expect to see like we've mentioned before, like neutral sword and maybe not neutral Rune or neutral blood, but like neutral forest and neutral shadow. But it depends on like what the makeup of a lot of decks are. It certainly looks like a pretty powerful mid-range effect. Lets you trade up for a while.
All right.
Do you have anything to add, Bjorn?
I already mentioned it.
All right, I think this
Yeah.
card's definitely gonna see some play.
And come on,
but-
it's mascot girl, man.
yeah, it's pretty amazing. Up next, we have Queen of the Dread Sea, a 10 mana 7/7 with the fanfare effect. Change the cost of a neutral card, excluding herself, and a non-neutral card in your hand to 0. Then discard all other cards in your hand. I personally think this card is pretty bad. Like, I think the only class that would play this is probably Dragon, and even then,
No, man. Okay, hear me out.
All right.
So you have Looking Glass, Fairy Princess, into Rose Queen,
Rose
Queen of
Queen.
the Dread Sea.
You...
But discards every other card.
yeah,
What you
so
do is
you would make
You
the
Looking
plays
Glass
after.
the turn. You have to only have the 2 neutral cards of What is it? You turn Rose Queen and Fairy Princess into neutrals. You play Queen of the Dread Sea, turn both of those to 0 costs. Play Fairy Princess, play Rose Queen.
That doesn't quite work.
Totally does.
Because it changes a neutral card and a non-neutral card. Is it a forest and a neutral card if you change it?
You have to Looking Glass
Oh.
your Fairy Princess first.
Yeah, you
So
have to
you-
have only drawn one of them.
Oh, you
Alright,
have to have only drawn one of
Play
them.
it when you
That's
play
what I
Looking
thought.
Holy shit. That's like what, a 4-card combo?
Dude,
5-card combo?
this is like a 400 IQ combo right here.
This is
This is a meme.
Alright. How about
It's
this?
gonna be
Like,
top
how
tier.
about you meme it with day shift?
you don't
This is
win into the
better
next
than
turn
D-shift.
anyways.
This is
you're
a turn
going
11
to
win condition.
Like
You're
you
going
get
to
a
be
13,
able to
you get a
D-shift
13, you get a 13,
before
13.
turn 10.
Yeah,
This is a turn 11 win condition, okay? This is pretty good.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and say that after that amount of discussion on what sort of ridiculous through the Looking Glass Rose Queen combos we can find, we're probably not playing this in any.
Yeah, it's
competitive
100%
decks.
not gonna see play.
I
You're
there's
gonna
a-
win a
disagree.
tournament with the deck.
Hold on, I guess we're playing it in a competitive deck. If there's a meme league tournament you want to take this to, by all means, that's technically competitive.
yeah.
I think this card can see play in Dragon, because what you can do with it is you can set up 12 damage out of hand through Genesis and Zeus, or you can set up
So-
Ouroboros and Zeus for some insane board. I
God, it's
think
Snell all over again.
yes, basically. I think it can see some play in Dragon. Maybe as a tech choice for Dragon Mirrors, where you just want that extra bit of burst damage, and this card provides it in spades. Otherwise, nah.
Yeah.
Like
Like I think
no-
the The only OTK I can think of is like Satan's Servant along with this card and D-Shift, but other than that, yeah, nah.
That's a good thought process, though. We're going way too deep. You can just like put 2 fatties in play in Dragon. Queen of the Dread
Oh.
Sea, also known as 10 mana, 30 stats on 30 mana worth of cards. Just flop them all in play.
What about you get either like Forte, Zeus, Genesis, and Ariad? That's actually more damage than like Genesis.
Oh my!
Zeus.
Yeah. I
We're
guess
back
just,
up
I guess it's
there.
just too much effort. It's just too much effort.
We're back off there.
Okay, let's move on to Forest Craft.
Yeah.
We got
Queen of
Flower
the Dread Sea,
Princess,
sweet.
the 4-mana 2/4 with the fanfare effect. Put 2 fairies into your hand. If you have 2 or less neutral cards in your hand, put a Thorn Burst and 2 fairies into your hand if there's at least 3 neutral cards into your hand.
I am so happy to see this card. I can finally play a 4-drop in Forest that isn't embarrassing going first. I hate EPM with a burning passion because it is just sometimes you lose the coin flip, and by that I mean go first, and that card actually does nothing. And here we finally have a card. You can play it on turn 4 going first and just be like, I got my fairies, you can do whatever you want to this now.
Do you think it will be an upper replacement to EPM?
I don't think it can replace EPM in OTK because the 0 cost is huge there. But any deck where you can set up the neutral effect of getting a Thorn Burst, this card basically was like Levi already. Also, this is better statted than EPM when you evolve it. So
Yeah.
if you're playing anything other than the usual Forest stuff of I need to set up my Tias or my Roaches, I think this card will see play over EPM because it's just more useful in half of your games.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Thornburst is just a great bonus, but for most part, as long as you get 2 fairies out of it, I guess that's great enough. And in most Forest decks, you will definitely like have quite a number of neutral cards to trigger it anyway.
Well, I feel like I have a good grasp of card analysis. I apparently don't have a good grasp at the English language. I'm not the best reader. Put 2 fairies in your hand if you have 2 or less neutral cards in your hand is sweet. I didn't realize that it triggered if we don't have neutrals as well.
Yeah,
so we
that's
can
right.
like still play Fina. Yeah, no, this card's great. I was like, I don't know, that's a lot of neutrals to get the effect, but it's pretty strong. Man, no, this is a good card. It also, with the 2/4 stat line, does tend to bump around and compete on the Evo turns as well. We talked about like the stats on EPM are spread out into like being balanced by getting the free fairies, but the stats on this are like if you mentioned, oh well, I can play it on 4. I don't feel embarrassed if I went first. Well, if you're going second, it's even better, right? Like you have the 4/6 Evo as well. You get the 4/6, you get like a Thorn Burst. Now you do have the Levi turn. You just get to have this huge board state. The fairies are going to be nice down the road. I think it's a well-statted card. I'm looking forward to playing it.
All right, I think not much more can be said about this card at the moment. Do you guys want to move on to the next card?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, up next we got Woodland Band. It is a 3-mana amulet. At the end of your turn, give all allied followers +2/+2 if at least 4 followers with a different name are in play, and then destroy this amulet.
This
Man.
is too hard.
I know.
Way too inconsistent for. I mean, it's a decent payoff, but it's not worth it.
I'm hearing you. I understand. I want to play it anyways. It looks so much fun. I think that like if you can enable this card to be aggressively powerful, you just get to like put it into play and then go, all right, contest my board. What do you got? Which would involve some sort of like ridiculousness. So you can play like Felper Kitten and like you go like Goblin, some Fairy Enabler, like Water Fairy, and another 1-drop, and then you go like Woodland Band, some other dumb 1-drop. Merman, because it buffs our guy. Now we're getting some real damage in, and then you just buff your whole board. It's a super long shot, but the aggro forest deck has existed before, and it's possible that it could come back with some woodland bans. Probably not, but I'm hoping. I'm gonna test it. It's gonna suck, and I'm gonna move on. But test it. Maybe it's good.
The card
not.
that I would compare this to is Castle in the Sky for Sword. It requires a ton of setup and just kind of like a payoff that doesn't really, do much.
Hate that you're right.
It's slightly worse than Rogue's Creed.
Well, actually, you know what?
hate
I
that
think
you're right,
Rogue's
too.
Creed is getting like quite a bit of support.
Well, I'm saying in its current state. Rogue's
Yeah.
Creed.
Yeah, I just think it's a pity that it's a Forestcraft card, because if it was Swordcraft, you can actually like evolve Flower Fencer, get the 2 different type of followers, and then you pretty much like proc the ability, but
That's
unfortunately,
just
Or
disgusting.
even if this is like a
unfortunately,
neutral.
it's Forest.
That's gross, Bjorn. We don't
that's
talk
gross.
like that here.
Take that out of here.
Jeez.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
if
it's unfortunate.
I promise you that the next, hear me out here. Next chapter in the story mode, someone's gonna be woodland band floral fencering us, and I'm gonna be so mad at you. Ugh, gross.
All right.
I wish I could play this. It's probably bad.
Let's move on to Kindly Treant, the 3-mana 2/3 with the fanfare effect that gain +1/+1 and ward if there are at least 3 neutral cards in your hand. I personally think this card's like pretty good. Like, what do you guys think? Like, it's like a tech option mostly.
Broken. That card's broken. 3 mana, 3/4. And the thing is, it's not even understated. So even if you're playing it without the activation, it's still a 3 mana premium stat line. It's gonna see play 100%.
Yeah, definitely.
I rated it that like 3 neutrals is kind of a lot. A lot of the Forestcraft cards require you to have 3 neutrals, probably because you can already play cards like Dance of Death and Fina and Goblin Mage, and like if you have the enabling effect, it's really good. The 3 mana 2/3 stat line being fair is like fine, but I mean Forestcraft is about doing things that are not fine. You just every turn you are making your opponent feel like they're gonna lose. So I'm okay with it. I'll probably wind up playing it, but 3 feels like a lot on turn 3. I mean, you have to like play it over Goblin Mage, or like all I'm saying is I gotta cut something to put in my deck. I'm not sure what I'm gonna take out yet, but it looks like it's okay.
I personally think I would play this over Ancient Elf if there were ever to be a neutral forest deck. Because I think that a neutral forest deck wouldn't actually want to bounce its followers to hand that often. Especially because you're trying to go 1-drop neutral into 2-drop neutral into something else. So, yeah, this is like all the other neutral cards. I think this is only a card if the neutral deck exists, but if it does, I think this card is good enough to make the cut there.
I'm just gonna say that comment about not wanting to bounce your own guys is way smarter than I was thinking. Well, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I'm
Right.
the forest player, right?
Yeah.
Alright.
I'll talk to you about when we get to the sword cards. What do we got up next, Sunfire?
We got a Tweedledum and Tweedledee, a 2-mana 2/2 with the fanfare effect. Add 1 to the number of cards that played this turn. How do you guys feel about this?
I don't know what to do with it.
Underwhelming.
I don't even like the art, which is usually my go-to for this card is not very good.
I mean, you can set up some pretty insane roach damage turns with like if you Lionel this preemptively, and then like went Tweedledee, Tweedledum, and then like had a bounce for it, played it again, and then roach bounce roach or something like that for 7.
My only problem with the roach combos with it is that the 2-drop slot in forest is so contested because you're playing roaches and you're playing lilies, and you're like some lists play Lisa instead of Lily and some lists play both, and like you have Sylvan Justice. Like there's just so much to be doing on turn 2, and like so it doesn't do anything on turn 2 itself. Like a lot of those cards have more value later, and I just feel like I can't really fit it in. Plus, if I have a bounce for it, I would probably rather bounce my roach. So I just can't find a way to play it. Probably not good enough.
There's
I
like
think-
no way for this card.
You guys You guys are selling it short, man. Okay, you're not thinking of the possibilities. Okay,
Dude, it
There's
messes with
potential
your
here.
goblin mages.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I
For
think
instance,
I think someone will find a way to make this card like some insane combo machine. I'm telling you,
Is it good with the stupid?
it's good with Sakuna.
Is it? It's good with the beetle warrior.
Yes,
Is it good with
Beetle
that?
warrior.
Beetle
Beetle.
guy. The big bad Beetleborg.
Beetle. Aggro it is, and we're gonna
Yeah.
play Treant because we don't want to bounce our aggro cards.
Yeah.
This is what JaZe and Stars are forest masters. Stars is an aggro master. Maybe it's good. I don't know. I'll have to test it.
I
You
personally
test
can't
it. I'm not testing it. I think it's trash.
think of a place to put this in. But I can see that it has like some potential. Whether or not the potential comes out, that's a whole nother story. But up next we got Woodland Brambles. It is a 2-mana amulet with the countdown to fanfare. Put 2 fairies into your hand. Give all allied followers into play, and all allied followers that come into play clash. Deal 1 damage to the enemy follower. Well, that was quite a mouthful.
Yeah.
That's confusing.
I have no idea how to evaluate this card. I'm just gonna say that I think the
It's like-
effect is a lot stronger than it looks.
It turns all your followers into Owlcat.
I
Kind of,
wish it
yeah.
literally turned all your followers into Owlcat. Like you just get a bunch of 2-1s.
You know,
Yeah,
I don't know. The effect on the clash in play and come into play is really good because then you get the fairies for it. But again, we're talking about like forest 2-drops. At least this one doesn't mess with like all of your tutor effects. But I'm not sure where I'd want to play it is my problem. Like it's kind of a controlling card and it gives you the fairies for enabler, but it doesn't really assist you with anything in particular other than clearing the board, which Forest has like tons of great wards for early anyways. Messes with your ancient elf setups. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm not in.
the only thing I don't like is because it's an amulet, it takes up another space on the board, so you're pretty much working with 4 throughout the whole of the game later on. And as far as you kind of like need to maximize your board space as much as possible.
well, it only
I
has
think
countdown
there's-
too, so it will be over by like turn 4 or 5. So that's not too bad, but it feels like very reminiscent to Man-Eating Mangrove, and that card really didn't get seen, or like didn't see any like play at all.
I can think of one deck that might be interested in a card like this, and that's Wolfbolt. The Wolfbolt was a deck that was fairly willing to play cards like Fairy Whisperer, even though that messes up with your Gabu pulls. And this card doesn't do that. This card can't be searched with Gabu, so it doesn't interfere there. And it also makes your board rather annoying to deal with. So, and Wolfbolt was a deck that consistently had trouble fighting for board early, and this card kind of does it. These fairies are actually very annoying to deal with. They trade with 2/2s. So, I don't
Your
know. We'll
opponent can
see.
just ignore them.
It's a weird card. Oh, they can't ignore it because the fairies can attack next turn, and then they're gonna trade with 2/2s. That's a big threat.
Yeah,
Yeah,
or
it's
even
interesting, but I don't know how good it's gonna.
if you had like a 1-drop like turn 1, and then you played this, and then like maybe like an Elf Child May, you could like get through Grimnir pretty easily. But like, I don't know. I really can't think of like much for this this amulet.
Yeah,
If,
it feels
for
fringe
some
at best.
if for some reason, after all the nerfs, everyone's still just dying to skeletons, I'm playing this. But until then,
Oh, you know what?
Which I hope
That's
doesn't
actually like
happen.
a true
I'm
true assessment.
It's
Yeah.
literally it's a tiny Robin Hood, and Robin Hood doesn't even see play.
It's a Texas Shadow.
listen,
basically.
man. You're gonna tell these fairies they can't pretend they're Robin Hood. That's what you
Crushed
just
it.
said to me. You said that the fairies don't get to pretend to be Robin Hood. If they want to kill skeletons all day, I'm fine with that. I don't think that'll happen though. We just keep nerfing Shadow.
Oh man. All right, so we got Snowfield Warrior up next. It's a 4-mana 3/3 with Rush. Whenever this follower attacks and destroys an enemy follower, gain a +1/+1 if this follower is not destroyed.
It's a weaker version of Geno. I mean, it breaks through Grimnir and leaves you with a lot of 4/2. It's not bad, but it's just the thing is, the reason that Geno is good is because of the fact that he has the enhance. And 4 attack is actually much more relevant than 3 in my opinion. So I mean, it's an alright card, but I don't think it's as good as Geno is.
I agree that Forestcraft Geno is not as good. Also, Forestcraft Geno has a weird mustache. I don't know.
But Forest
Not
Albert
sold.
is pretty great.
Forest
I mean,
Albert's insane.
but on 4 it is still kind of like a Geno card, and Forest does not have a Geno equivalent, right?
No.
Yeah,
No.
I'm glad that this exists because again, it's another 4-drop that doesn't embarrass you all the time when you're going first.
And it definitely gives
I
you
don't
options.
think it's good enough though.
The thing is, like, Geno can run over. Like I said, the 4 attack is so much more relevant because Geno, this can't run over an unevolved 4-drop. So say your opponent just tempos out an EPM. This can't kill it. That's why
Sure.
the 4 attack is relevant and 3 is significantly worse.
Yeah, you'd have to evolve over that. But if you do evolve over it, that's actually like in this imaginary scenario where you're playing against, like, say, a 3/4 on turn 4, you would be going second, right? So you would be able to
Yeah.
evolve over it. You would have a 6/6 when it's all said and done. So
The
that
point
would
of
go down to
evolution-
6/3.
The point of
And-
Rush is to not have to use an Evo point, though.
Sure, but let's say, I mean, this is a card that's designed for not being bad going first, right? But let's say you go second and you end up evolving your 4-drop over something. It becomes a 6/6. That's not bad. Like, it will eat Athena that evolves into it. That's. I don't think this card is great, but I don't think that it's unreasonable.
It's passable. It
But
might.
I
Yeah,
guess,
it's
okay.
passable at best.
I guess on the plus side, it kind of kills Grimnir cleanly, and then it
Yeah,
becomes
if
a
you're going
4/2.
first, it'll eat a Grimnir and be a 4/2, which is a pretty good card.
I mean,
Yeah, like I said, it's not. You wouldn't want a 3 of in it for sure, but I'd say it's like a passable 2 of.
We'll see.
I'm not
I
excited
agree.
about it. That's for sure.
I'm willing to give
It's
it
not
a shot.
Fairy Princess.
All right.
Sure,
not-
it's not Fairy Princess, and it's not very cute either. So
But you know what
If it
is
was-
cute? Abby the Axe
Is it
Girl.
the Axe Girl. Oh yes,
Which is
I am
a
excited.
2-mana 2/2 with Clash, gain a +2/+0 until the end of the turn.
You nerds. with your
Here we
cute
go.
girls.
This is the card we've been waiting for. She
The bear?
she
The bear.
counters. She counters. She counters Veteran Lancer very, very hard because axes beat lances, and also
Clearly, it has been
Oh.
scientifically proven that axes beat lances.
exactly.
Oh, no.
More relevantly to this particular game, she can eat a Grimnir, and she can actually trade with 4-drops, which is a really impressive thing for a 2-drop to be able to do. I don't know where I would play this card though.
That's the thing. Is it's just the effect is, it's just feels awkward, because if it was whenever she attacked, she gained +2/+0, that'd be broken. And as it stands, the Clash is just I don't know. The thing is that the 2 health breakpoint is important. This dies to every remove, basically. So you can't like use this to threaten something without using an evolution, unless you're going first. You can use it to like threaten it. It's
Yeah, I guess
it's
it's
awkward.
only for going first, but I guess one of the nicer thing is that it can contest tempo defenders as well.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, I mean, because tempo defenders tend to like shut down forests with like, you know, when everything's at 1 damage, you can't really punch through. But this is one of the cards that can actually like, you know, punch through it.
I think that it does a decent job with clearing wards, but again, Forest is like not particularly worried about taking a couple of chip damage in the early game. and so we're not really worried about that. Also, we talked earlier about a certain card. It doesn't matter how sharp that axe is. Apparently, she can't cut Rapunzel's hair, so that's irrelevant.
Ooh,
The two
Man.
fives, man.
it finally
Dude, I'm-
comes out.
Yeah, she can't handle the truth. You can't kill a 2/5 on with this. More relevantly, I just think the Force again doesn't want more 2-drops. It just doesn't fill any holes. We just don't need it. Cool card though.
It is very cool. Up next, we have a Sylvan Elder, a 6-mana 4/5 with Ward, and it also has the Fanfare effect. Give all other allied followers +1/+1 if you have at least 3 neutral cards in your hand. How do you feel about this, JaZe?
Why are you playing? So if you are playing a neutral deck, why aren't you just playing Alice? So this card does the same thing, is +1/+1 bigger, doesn't buff your hand, and costs 2 more mana. Why?
It's a worse version of Sage Commander.
I mean, it is silver.
Yeah, I
It's-
just don't
it's-
see it.
It's not a worse version of Sage Commander. It's the worst version of Sage Commander. I think that they won't print a Sage Commander that will be this bad. I don't really know where I'd play it, so I won't play it. He can sit where he is. I don't know. It doesn't do anything really. You have to have a
I see.
pretty good board to make the effect good, and the hand requirement, and it's 6-drop. No, thank you.
Absolutely terrible.
And also the art is ugly too, which no, that's like 0 for 3 there.
Are you
In the
trying to
Evolve
say
art,
that art doesn't give you wood stars? Come on, come on.
in the Evolve art, does he like blossom or something? Because that might be cool. But again, it's
He's
not
covered
selling
in
me.
moss in the evolved art.
All right, I'm out. Next.
All right,
Get
all
him
right.
outta here.
All right, we got Elf Twins Assault. It is a 2-mana spell. Deal X damage to 2 random enemy followers. X equals the number of neutral cards in your hand. This card is really, really good. It's pretty much like a
Nice.
2-mana like Will of the Forest, or actually, you know what? I think it's better described as like I guess like a neutral version of what is that card? Dragonute Fist.
Oh, it's slightly different. Dragonite Fist has their target like 2 times separate. So if there's a single target, it hits twice, right? But
Yeah.
for Elf Twins Assault, it says 2 random enemy followers, so it locks on immediately. So you can't really do like double the damage, like twice over.
That is
I-
correct, Bjorn. However,
I think this card is insane.
I was gonna agree. However, we might be able to do 4 damage to 1 target with Dragonute Fist. The Elf Twins Assault can hit 6 damage split on 2 targets or
Yeah.
more. It'll never actually hit more because that's absurd. But I think the
Okay.
card's good enough to play, and from there, like, I mean, it's really good with the Looking Glass, and then, I mean, removal always good. We'll clear some things out. Seems fine.
Yeah, I mean, I guess Looking Glass with this might actually go well together.
Yeah, this is one of the few times where you actually need a lot more neutrals than 3. So you can actually consider Looking Glass for a deck with Elf Twins Assault.
Yeah, so you can actually Looking Glass in a forest deck, stuff in the usual, like token generators like EPM, Finas, and stuff like that. Like even Kaiser's pretty good in a deck like this.
That was actually like my biggest point though about all the forest ones seem like they need like 3 approximately neutral cards, like a couple say like 2 or less, 3 or more. Like you can at least do something with this as well if you have 2 or if you have 1. It has some value still, so we'll have to see the consistency in the future though of how many neutral cards people will happen to have in their hand. Like it's gonna be tough. What do we got on the slate?
We got Magical Fairy Lilac, a 3-mana 1/4 with Clash. Destroy the enemy follower and remove this follower's Clash ability.
This
I
card
think if
is
I had Rush, it would.
this card is too good. Just look at that art. I can't pass this card.
Man, I'm gonna go right away with this card is not too good. It's a clash ability. You're gonna play this card, and you're gonna be like, "Oh yeah," and I'm gonna kill my opponent's big minion, and he's just gonna run a goblin into it, and you're gonna feel like an idiot. It's gonna feel so bad. Your opponent's gonna have any follower that can just smash some dumb guy into it, and then it loses the ability, and you have a 3-mana 1/4.
You're not thinking about.
Oh my
I'm gonna
gosh.
disagree. I think
There's
this
a
card
reason-
is.
Yeah, there's a reason that I run Ruthless Assassin in my aggro sword decks, and that's because if you're going first and you have the board and you play that on 3, you can basically just deny anything. Because this card is better than Ruthless Assassin in that aspect. If you're going first and you have the worst deck, this card can be incredibly dangerous.
Even just playing it on 4 is like pretty good if you're going second. Just like evo it and kill a card. It's a 3/6.
It's pretty much a 1-for-2, right? I mean, since it's gonna clash and like destroy 2 followers.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, it's
Yeah.
good like that. I just feel like there's opportunities for your opponent to deny the clash. It's not like super well statted for the late game, and like the I don't know. I don't see myself playing it in forest. Like I don't have a forest spot for it.
So
I'm,
so you guys are gonna laugh, but I was looking at this card art, and her legs seem absurdly long, considering like how small her arms are.
Oh man.
I like
It's
can't
the
unsee it now.
It's the perspective.
It probably is the perspective, but it looks hilarious.
I'm starting to see a pattern with all these
65%.
cards.
What is the pattern, JaZe?
Like there are so many cards that I feel like I just saw where I was like, if there is a tempo forest deck, I am going to put these cards into them.
Maybe
like
you should
Abby
build it.
the Axe Girl, Wood of Brambles. Not quite sure how I'm gonna round out the rest of this deck, but there's plenty of good forest
Woodland
cards.
Band.
No. But maybe it's finally time to build that like tempo forest deck and this is an extra 3-drop to add to your Cybels that just puts something on the board. It's really hard to kill on turn 3, and if left uncontested, it just does something insane. It just kills something straight up. I'm gonna try that.
Maybe it's
and see
finally
if that's
time.
good. Yeah, maybe it's finally time.
Up next, we got Fairy Driver, a 4-mana 3/3. Whenever an allied Fairy comes into play, and give it +1/+0, and Storm until the end of the turn.
This card's my magical meme bus. We're just gonna play Fairy Cage and then Fairy Driver, and we're just gonna pump out fairies forever. No, I don't know what to say about this.
Fairy
Either
Cage,
great or
Mana
it's-
Elk, Fairy Drive.
Mana Elk. Now we're in too
Mana
deep.
Elk.
Oh
Dude,
man.
that's 9 face damage for the low cost of a 3-card setup.
I mean, it's forest. Anything could be done. I don't know. I don't like it much. It's cool. I like the effect. I probably won't play it, or I'll play it in some absurd control build. But other than that, nah, not my style.
I felt like this falls back into like what JaZe was saying earlier about 4-drops. It's just like another option, if need be.
This is not a 4-drop
This
play
is
on 2.
yeah. This card is no 4-drop. You're gonna save up fairies for this card, and that's kind of the problem with it. You basically, if you try to play it early and don't get the full effect off, it's gonna die, and you're gonna be left with a handful of fairies that you really don't have that many ways to abuse.
I mean, I guess like you could technically turn it into like a 4th version of Phantom Hell, is like what I'm understanding correctly.
Yeah, you could play it on like, I don't know, 9 mana or something, and then you can put out a bunch of fairies, clear their entire board. But most forest decks aren't really looking to do that. Most forest decks would rather send that straight to face, and
Seems like a
that's
theme.
I'm not sure if you can
hard.
actually OTK, like, play him down, play the zero cost fairies, play Roach, then do the usual Roach thing, but just that you get to punch extra damage with the fairies right now.
Well, if you think about it, you can Lionel this, right? So then it becomes a 0 cost. This can set up some pretty kinky Roach turns.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about.
A disgusting Roach game, yeah. I guess you just like free fairy driver, fairy Roach, goodbye. Like, again, we're talking about a class that has been known forever for being really good at OTKing with this sweet OTK combo. I don't see it much, but who knows? What do we have else for Forest?
We got the first Forest Legendary, a Fairy Dragon. It is a 2-mana 0/4 with Ward and a fanfare effect of add X to this follower's attack. This value equals the number of allied fairies that would have, or to have been destroyed in this match.
Does PTP count with this? That's what I need to know. Or Altered Fate, I mean. Because if it
I'm
does,
not
that's
sure.
a game change. But otherwise, I find this card kind of under.
I think Altered Fate just destroys, right? It's been a while since Altered Fate has been meta.
I don't think that discarding is the same as destroying.
I don't think so either. What I do think is that Fairy Dragon is decent in the mid game, kind of bad in the early game. It's a 2-drop, which confuses me because 2-drops are usually pretty premium in Forest. I feel like, again, it fits somewhere, but probably not where we want it to be. Like, it's not going to slot into the regular old Forest decks. But if you have a way to, like, make it pretty decently sized in the early game, it'll be good. You have to find a way to get a Fairy dead before you play it. 0/4s are bad. I can tell you that much.
Yeah, it seems like a good card that excels very well in mid game to late game, especially like because it's only at 2 costs. Imagine like throwing like 2 of them at the same time. It's pretty hard to deal with actually.
I don't know, maybe I'm underestimating it, but I think this card's kind of underwhelming. The thing is, like, I could see this fitting in like a tempo or mid-range deck, maybe, but the thing is, you don't want cards that aren't always guaranteed to do something. At least in my opinion. For aggro and mid-range, you don't want a card that's not always going to be able to help, because your resources are limited.
Yeah, you're gonna put this into a deck, and you're gonna have it in your opening hand, and you're going to be very disappointed because I think aggressive decks rely the most on their opening hands in order to actually do anything, because you tend to see less cards as an aggressive deck, and you need those early drops. This messing up with that, I think it's a big enough problem that I wouldn't be willing to put it in my deck, even if it said this is always an 8/4 on turn 5 or whatever.
Now, if it gained health for that, maybe it would be worth it.
Yeah, if it gained
Just
health,
attack.
we would be talking. But the fact that it will always die to a whole bunch of AoEs or just like get traded into whatever's on the board, like,
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
yeah, I don't think this is good enough. We'll see.
Yeah,
I'm
I think
gonna
this
try
is
it.
pretty meme tier. I don't think anything else needs to really be said.
It's within the $4,000 budget to test it out.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Perfect. You can do that, and I'll just wait to see if it's good.
JaZe going to the
Joel.
lab.
Thank you, JaZe.
All right, let's move on to everyone's favorite, the Beauty and the Beast, the 6-mana 5/6 with fanfare, gain +2/+2. If you have at least 5 cards in your hand, gain resistance to damage and destruction from spells and effects if you have at least 3 neutral cards in your hand.
This card's busted.
Yeah,
This is so good.
It's so good.
It is insane.
Like, you got Fairy Dragon, horrendously disappointing. This card is, honestly, I'd compare its power level almost.
To what?
It's just so good, man. Like, if you're playing aggro or tempo Forest, right? and you're able, even if you don't get the +2/+2, a 6-mana 5/6 is still pretty good stat line. And the fact that it becomes untargetable, or wait, it's not untargetable. It's basic. It's better than untargetable. Yeah.
Wait,
I mean,
I can't read. It's better than untargetable?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
it
because
gains
it's
resistance to
damage.
damage and destruction. The only things that will work on it will be things like banishes,
Banish,
and
Are you
combat
kidding
damage.
me?
Yeah,
I
it's
thought
basically.
it's what?
This is, in my opinion, this is Mysterious Challenger. Because, like, say you curve out aggressively, you get your opponent low, and then you drop. Mysterious Challenger was the same way. It's a nail in the coffin that can't easily be dealt. That's what this is. It's aggressive, or it's good enough stat line, very difficult to remove. I think this card is going to be a staple 3. And
It's
like
better than I
aggressive to me.
thought. How is it better than I thought? It's just better. What? I'm blown away. No, I just didn't read it. Man.
Yeah. It's a 9/10 on turn 6 that you can't answer with a removal spell if everything goes right.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Think
gonna be
about that.
fantastic. It's gonna be fantastic in neutral forest craft decks for sure.
Unless people start running acolytes.
I hope not.
I mean, might. Don't try me.
I mean, this is gonna
Ugh.
evo over something and then eat an acolytes. I'm okay with that. Actually, that's fine. That just killed like probably 10 mana worth of cards and 2 of them in exchange for a 6-mana card. I'll take it. That's fine.
We have to have 3 neutrals, which is like, now I'm pretty sure that there's gonna be some weird forest decks week 1, man. You're gonna be running around with Hamses.
Yeah, you're definitely gonna have to do some like min-maxing on those neutrals to get the
No, I'm
optimal plays.
I'm hamsing.
Hamsing.
I'm gonna hamsing you down.
Oh man.
Nice Beauty
Hot
of the
Mess
Beast.
Express.
Taste my duck. Just duck you out.
All right, let's move on to something that Glassfists is a little bit more qualified on. The Swordcraft. Yeah, we got a Rabbit Ear Attendant. It's a 3-mana 2/3 with fanfare. Draw X cards. X equals the number of allied neutral cards in play.
Man. Goblins, boys. I actually think this card's sweet.
Sword has always struggled with not having card draws. I think this might be a little bit better and more of like a neutral control sword than it would be in an aggro, but mid-range it could probably also see play as like a 2, again, 3-mana.
It's like tough. Part of the reason why I look at the card and think it's good is that a lot of the neutral craft 2-drops are already good in sword control. So like, if it draws you 2 cards, it's insane. If it draws you 1, it's still pretty good.
I think it's just like good filler. I don't know, like mostly like Swordcraft, you like tutor like most of what you need anyway.
Yeah, the question is this better than Grimnir? Which we don't know if Albacrat's gonna exist after. It's competing with Grimnir, but it's at least comparable.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on to Kiss of the Princess. It's a 3-mana spell. Give a neutral follower +2/+4, then change that follower into a Swordcraft commander.
This card.
I know Noah wants to play this card already.
Yeah.
Use it on frog memes, man.
But you can't use it on frog.
You'd have to have looking glass the frog.
Oh, we're dipping too far.
From a flavor standpoint.
That's a flavor win. If my opponent ever goes Looking Glass, Frog, Kiss the Princess, Mentor's teaching, I'm conceding. You're right. But other than that, I think that it's good on cards like Lyrial and things like that. Time will tell if it's going to be powerful enough. The 4 toughness is like super huge. Like 4 health on a minion lets you trade for so long. But like, again, we'll have to find a deck that wants enough neutral followers. And playing a buff on 3 means that your 2-drop had to live. Otherwise, you just have this Kiss the Princess in your hand and you pass on turn 3 and lose. So
just to track, it's only for allied followers, right? or like it's any neutral follower?
It's give a neutral follower. So you could use it on someone and then like Tsubaki it or something. I don't know.
Dude, it's almost
Do like a JaZe.
abusive game hunter.
Oh, actually.
We've built our own big game hunter.
Yeah.
That's awful. I mean,
It's a
Yeah,
2-card
dude, yeah.
9-mana combo.
it's a 2-card 9-mana combo that kills a neutral follower that didn't already have 5 attack.
Pog champ. All right. Let's move on to Kunoichi Master, a 3-mana 3/2 with ambush, and it summons a Kunoichi trainee,
Yes,
which is
yeah.
a 2/1 with ambush. And these are gonna be like pretty solid, and maybe like Rogue's Creed. I'm not sure. It like definitely wants to play in like mid range or
I think it sucks.
like
I think it
control.
sucks because you have to play ambush aggro to like make it valuable, and all of the AoE board clears that start to come out around those turns, like Salamander and things like that, or like Lion, really just eat you alive. You like play this, and you can't evo it because that's terrible. So you just sit still, evo another minion, go face, and it gets blown off the board, and you're like, I wish I played anything else. This card's terrible.
Literally
here.
all of the
You have
other
Rogue's
good
Creed in
5
play?
drops.
You have Rogue Street play, yeah, but it's
I
just
think-
bad.
It might see play situationally in aggro sword, just because it's kind of like Albert. It's a little baby Albert. It's guaranteed
See
5
what they do?
face damage if it doesn't get removed.
Budget Albert.
Little baby Albert.
Yeah, I'm thinking about
Budget. I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm out on it.
It might see play.
It's hard to protect. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm
Well, the
not.
thing is, I mean,
not sold.
Kunoichi trainee already sees play.
Yeah, you
in
don't board
some
clear that
aggro
card on
decks.
2 though. Yeah, I mean it attacks on turn 3 every time. This card does not attack on turn 6 every time. A lot of the time it dies, or not a lot of the time. Enough of the time.
Alright, what's next?
Okay, we got Axe Destroyer, a 6-mana 6/5. When it evolves, destroy an enemy follower or amulet.
6/5 attack or 1-mana 6/5 attached to execute.
No.
Yeah. So, Abby the X Girl just got completely smashed.
I might say destroyed.
Destroyed. Just, jeez. The Evo is really good. The fact that they gave it any stats at all on this Evo effect is odd. I just,
Yeah,
I think it'll be good.
Well, because I think
Well,
it
if
has
you think about it, it's like Sledgehammer doesn't gain.
yeah, a lot of them don't. Lion doesn't get stats. Sledgehammer doesn't get stats. Axe Destroyer, we're gonna give it 1/1. You can just kill 2 things with it on 6. That's pretty good.
I mean, this is a strong tempo play.
Yeah,
But like, I mean, so is
I
like
like it.
Alweda's and like a lot of other 6 drops.
you have to
I
remember
mean,
as
honestly,
well.
this is better in like a control deck than Alweda's is. The only reason we run Alweda's and Control Sword is because there's no better 6-drop to play.
You guys
So-
run Alweda's. I just cut that card like months ago. Forget it. It sucks. I don't need it. You only need it for D shift, and that deck's terrible too. So you just don't play against D shift the whole time. No, I would totally play this card. Also, with Luminous Mage, you can save Evos for effects like this because you have so many Evos. You get 3 more Evos than everyone else every game if you play Luminous Mage. That's 400 IQ play. JaZe, what do you think about Axe Destroyer?
I don't think this card sees play.
Oh,
I-
come on.
Ditto here.
Sword Evos are at such a premium, even with all the extra lens you get with Luminous Mage. It's like, this is nice, and it'll eat a lot of things, but realistically, Sword's goal is to have the board at all points. You don't really need to have some kind of hard removal card, especially not one that requires an Evo point.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on to Young Ogre Hunter Momo. As a 3-mana 2/2 with Rush, Clash, gain Bane until the end of the turn. If the enemy follower has at least 5 attack. Meh.
It's like Tsubaki, but cheaper.
I mean, like,
It's
I
like
guess it like also has like
Subaks.
Rush too, so that's pretty solid.
It's like
It can eat a
Tsubaki.
fairy.
but
Or a goblin.
insane. It kills it doesn't have any whole like. It kills most minions. Like most followers die to it because they have more than 5 attack in the late game, and then the early game it's decent enough to like help you clear through things so that you can stay in like a controlling position. And I think it fits better than some of the other 3 drops that you can potentially play in Sword. I am excited for it. I will be playing it.
Yeah, I think you run this as a 2 of in control. So
Okay.
2 of.
Yeah, I guess the fact that you can just kill anything that's 5 attack and above with just 3 costs is just great.
Okay, up next is Old Man and Old Woman. It's a 3 mana 1/4. It can attack 2 times per turn, and if you evolve it, it gets Bane.
I think this card's good as fuck. It's super good.
I also think it's really solid.
There's some buffs on this. Well, like the thing is, if you curve this out into White General the turn after, you can deal 6 to face.
White General, Evo, good times, man. No, I don't really have much of an opinion on it. It's either insane or it's not, so I'm not even gonna like say much on it. I have to test it. The Bane plus the high health means that you can trade into 2 minions too. Clears wards really nicely. It's probably a powerful aggro effect. Evoing is like pretty rough though, but like you said, good with buffs. It's good. We'll see how good it is, I guess. It'll see play.
Okay. With that, we'll move on to Bladed Hedgehog. It's a 2 mana 1/3. Whenever an enemy follower is destroyed, you gain a +1/+0. Gotta say right off the bat, this thing is adorable. Just look at him. Look at him.
Nibbling.
He's just nibbling.
A sword?
Yeah.
Yeah,
look at that. He's also an officer. So you don't mess around with this guy.
Yeah.
Officer Hedgehog.
Can I have an emblem with him, please? Thank you.
Yes.
Other than that, though, I mean,
It's adorable.
It's really cute. I just don't know what I'd do with it. I want my 2 drops to have exactly 2 or more attack.
Well, like
to be able to trade pretty well.
I don't know. Maybe if you like played this like on 7, like with like a Cyclone Blade or something. But like besides that, like
get out of here.
you know what I mean?
Cyclone blading your 1/3?
Yes.
No, you're evoing and then Cyclone Blading, and then you have an X5 where X is already dead. No, we'll save the 7 mana Cyclone Blade plays for Hamsa, please and thank you.
Yeah, I'd rather Hamsa.
Okay, let's move on to something a little bit more interesting.
It's cute.
We got
cute, though.
Shield of Flame. It's a 2 mana spell. Deal 3 damage to an enemy follower, and if you have, oh wait, okay, it's deal 6 damage instead if you have an allied follower with ambush in play. Pretty solid. I mean, in decks they would run like Kunoichi, like it's basically like a way better whole soul swing.
I wish it could go face.
Shut up.
Just,
I mean,
just
I
6 damage to
also
face.
wish it could face.
No.
What does Sword
valid.
need to get back into competitive?
Well,
Well,
actually just play ambush sword.
Oh man. No, I think it's good. I think that it's going to see play immediately replacing Hold Soul Swing in several decks because the 1/1 on Hold Soul Swing is not only conditional but not super amazing a lot of the time. Like, I would just rather have 1 more damage against a lot of minions, or 6 damage if I have Tsubaki or like Ephemera or something like that. It's gonna be really good.
And it's
I'm
also
playing it for
deals
sure.
with Grimnir as well. And like you said, if you play Tsubaki, this basically like destroys another creature the turn after you play Tsubaki.
Most important point, it's gonna be sweet and animated. I guarantee it.
It probably
Mark my
will
words. Everyone, mark them.
This
Right.
is the best Pepe card ever. Oh my god.
Oh,
Ward,
the possibilities.
They're gonna ward up and they're gonna like play Grimnir and pre-evolve it, thinking that's actually gonna stop you, and you're gonna Shield of Flame them, and they're gonna lose the game on the spot. That's just game.
Jesus Christ. All right, let's move on to White Ridge Swordsman. It's a 5-mana 3/4 with Bane and Ward, and if you evolve it, whenever this follower attacks an enemy follower, destroy that enemy follower before it can deal any damage in return. So it basically has first strike, which is fine by me. This card is awesome. I love it.
It's on 5, so it's pretty contested, but the evolve is no joke.
And it's also an officer.
It's always going to be a 2-for-1. It's going to be an officer, so then you can, like, it avoids a couple of problems with that. I like it. I'll have to test it before I know how good it is, but 2-for-1ing your opponent in control feels good, man.
It's good on the play, right? I mean, as in going first, because, like, you know, you get the evolve point on 5 as well.
Yeah.
It's bad into Floral Fencer, kind of, but good into other non-sword decks going first. But even then, why would I play this over Albert straight to the face?
There are other sword decks than decks that go face turns 1 to 6. That's why you would play it.
All right, let's move on to Council of Card Knights. This is a pretty interesting 5-mana spell. You summon a Club Soldier, a Heart Guardian, and a Spade Raider. The Club Soldier is a 1/3 with Storm, Heart Guardian is a 1/3 with Ward, and a Spade Rider is a 1/3 with Bane. This is basically just an activator for your do something if you have like allied neutral followers.
Yeah, the followers that it summons are neutral, in case anybody wasn't sure.
Making them better than just regular 1/3s. They're vanilla 1/3s.
The joke is that neutral is better than sword in this expansion.
Oh no! Don't hurt me like that.
Yeah, I mean,
I think
with the neutral synergy is gonna be great, but other than that, yeah.
I think the card's okay. I don't know what to do with it yet.
Yeah, I mean, there's still a wielder on 6 as well.
Same here. Like that 5 slot is super contested for sword. Like all the good cards are at 5 mana. Okay, let's move on to Maisie, a Red Riding Hood. It is a 2-mana 2/2. When it evolves, destroy an enemy follower if an allied neutral follower is in play. How do you guys feel about this?
I think it's insane. Like, I'm imagining.
Go ahead.
Like, I'm imagining on turn 4 you play like Lyriel or whatever, and then you evolve this instead. Like it just kills the card. The card is just dead.
It's so good.
Right?
So you're saying, for a second here, you're saying that I can play a 2-drop that doesn't require 4 shadows to be Little Soul Squasher.
It's also like a better sledgehammer too.
Better thing to be evolved. Yeah, it just kills anything. It kills Bahamut. It kills.
I think it's a little bit overhyped.
I think I'm gonna kill your minions with it. I'm gonna kill your followers dead.
Just kill everything.
No.
My followers will have already hit the face. I mean, this
I
doesn't
was
hit
say
face.
your followers have
Alright.
already hit face. All right, you're just
But,
meme
really
swording it
do.
up over here.
Wait, okay.
think the biggest
Let me
issue
explain this in a way that stars can understand. If your opponent doesn't kill this, you can evo it to the face while preventing them from doing the same to you because you killed their board.
So
But
juicy.
the issue I have with this card is that the 2-drop slot is already so heavily contested. And the thing is, I mean, yeah, it's a high value, high tempo effect, but at the same time, it's just I don't know if I would be able to justify cutting maid leaders that to make room for this.
I think sword neutral will be a thing in this extension. We've seen a lot of support for it.
It's 100%
No, man.
going to be a thing.
I'm not sure.
Oh, it will be. I'm in. I'll build it.
But you know what's also in and goes out? Cinderella. Just bouncing back to your hand. Yeah. She's in and then she's right back out. She's a 3-mana 4/4. Whenever an allied Swordcraft follower comes into play, you return You return this follower to your hand. Honestly, I don't think it's too great.
So
Come on.
It just
speaking
kinda like,
of
eh.
sword neutral support, this is probably one of the bigger ones that they're trying to push here, because as long as you keep playing neutrals, it never goes back to your hand.
Yeah. And it's for stats on 3 is like great.
Yeah,
Imagine,
Yeah.
imagine if it was an upside to bounce it to your hand as well.
Are
Because
you gonna say
sometimes,
support cannon?
no. I'm saying that you just get to pick it up sometimes and replay it because it only costs 3, so you can like trade, bounce it, replay it on like the same turn. Because you just late game, you draw cards like Tsubaki, you draw cards that cost 7 like front guard, and you can like trade, bounce it, replay it, and that amount of value is going to be really huge. The other thing is that Gwaine never saw any time in the sun because there was no way to really curve cards with him. You play Gwaine, first of all, he sucks on the play, but like you play Gwaine and you get the trigger off, and then you turn your 5-drops into 4-drops, but then it's turn 5, so that doesn't do anything. This allows you to curve cards that fit together. You can make cards like Amelia cost 3, make a Cinderella cost 2, and then you can play both of them on turn 5, which gives you a huge tempo swing. So
Why would
I actually
you-
think that it's good in more than one case.
Why
Yeah, I
would
mean,
you
it's-
do that?
I don't.
Turn around.
I mean, it feels like it just feels like a Swordscraft version of Devil of Vengeance, except you don't have to lose half of your health, and I guess you get to bounce and like do efficient trades if you need to.
Yeah, this card's broken.
It does 4 damage to face for 3 mana. Stars is gonna like it.
Yeah.
Oh man, I feel like I'm the
Well,
only
then
one
you
that doesn't really
follow
like this.
up. You follow this up
maybe-
with some neutrals, more neutrals for days. Council of Card Knights is neutral.
Neutrals
Yeah.
for days, neutrals for JaZe, or Jays, depending on if you mispronounce it.
JaZe,
Oh, no.
This card will be
Please
this-
not like
according
this.
to the best
gonna be-
broadcasters.
This card's gonna be a 3 of in aggro sword.
It's
I
gonna be
can see that.
All right, let's move on to the next legendary card.
Okay, and that is going to be Hero of Antiquity. It is a 8 mana 6/10 with Rush. Can't be destroyed by spells and effects. Can't be destroyed by damage from effects or attacks. It's basically just like Alexander, really.
Yeah.
This card sucks. Can you imagine a situation where you'd rather have this Fang Blade?
Oh yeah,
Not
that
like
too. He's like a
this.
worse Fang Blade.
He
It looks
doesn't
pretty
hit
cool, though.
fakes.
I want it to be
I agree
good
with
so
Stars.
bad.
Yeah.
I want it to
It's a
be
Fang
good
Blade
so
that
bad
doesn't hit face. Why would you play this?
because it's bigger. But I don't actually think you would. I'm gonna try it. It's gonna suck. I'm gonna cry that I crafted it or opened it, and it's not gonna be very good. But it's not very good.
Yeah, I guess on the I guess the only redeeming factor that it provides you like 1,000 vials. That's about it.
1,000 vials sounds pretty good to me. But you know what also sounds pretty good? Joining us over at ManaSurge.team, or you can follow us over at Facebook.com/ManaSurge, as well as at Team ManaSurge over on the Twitters. But we're gonna move on to the Rune section of the review, which is going to be Apprentice Sword Mage. It's a 4 mana 3/4 with the fanfare effect. Gain +1/+1 if the number of neutral cards in your hand equals or exceeds the number of Runecraft cards in your hand, excluding this card.
A lot of words.
Yeah, that is a lot of words.
There's a lot of words on that card that don't do much. I think that this is going to further push Runecraft's really bad identity problem that the mechanics that Runecraft has don't really work well with each other. So you know what we're going to do is we're going to take Runecraft's mechanics that don't work very well together, and we're just going to also make them play neutral cards that don't work very well with either mechanic.
This card's
So,
terrible.
And on top of it, this card's bad. Good point.
Well, the
Okay.
thing is, like, it's.
All right, go ahead, Stars.
I was just thinking, it's just like basically what he's saying. They're forcing so many archetypes into room when it doesn't even really have an identity as is, because like D-Shift doesn't see play. Dirt Rune only has like the, I guess, aggressive list that isn't even really that good. And now they're forcing the new version, because like Daria died out basically. You still see it every once in a while. It's just, I think I'd prefer that they had instead worked on solidifying the already existing archetypes rather than adding a new one.
I agree.
I also
So
agree.
we're gonna feel very bad while we talk about several Runecraft cards that we won't ever see. I think.
Well, no. What do you guys feel about Carbuncle of Mysteria? It's a 2-mana 2/1 with last word spell boost the cards in your hand.
I think it's named Carbuncle, and that's a problem. First of all,
Do not Google the word carbuncle.
Oh god, I actually forgot you did that.
I googled carbuncle what face in the chat, please.
please do not Google Carbuncle. Oh, yeah, just did that. Don't do that. Nope.
All right.
It's bad. It doesn't really do anything that you want. It's just bad.
All
It's
right.
bad.
I think we could all agree
I
that's
wouldn't
pretty
play
bad.
this over Lou. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a Conjure Golem that might occasionally be more useful because sometimes this will die a turn later, and that means you get a spell boost on the card you just drew. But I think in enough cases it's going to be worse. Like, what if it just doesn't die? What are you doing? It's a 2/1.
All right, we got a Witch of Sweets. It's a 2-mana 2/2 fanfare. Draw a card if the number of neutral cards in your hand equals or exceeds the number of Runecraft cards in your hand, excluding this card.
Did we not just do that?
What?
No. That was Carbuncle. This is Witch
You're
of
talking
Sweets.
about Carbuncle. This card also sucks.
Yeah, I think it's like okay. It's not like unplayable, but I don't know.
No, I think it's pretty unplayable. I mean, I don't like the idea that they want Runecraft to be playing extra neutrals. A lot of your neutral cards, like Snipe and Dance to Death, like you have to just cast when you have them. And like, they don't really have the advantage of being able to play a ton of neutral followers, so I'm not excited for this card either.
Well, I mean, what if you're like playing D-Shift and then like you use the mirror, like or like through the Looking Glass, like I had mentioned earlier, and then use that,
So now we have,
and then this just becomes a draw card. It's more draw. You know.
yeah.
All
So
right,
it's worse than
bad.
Lou.
All right.
It's worse than Lou. Yeah,
Yes, it's pretty bad.
or worse than Lou confirmed.
All right, we got
Worse art
Witch's
than Lou.
Cauldron. It's a 1-mana amulet. It's an Earth Sigil, and last words draw you a card. I think this is gonna be like an auto occlude in like most Earthright decks, honestly.
Best Earthright card in the set.
It's the only one, or at least I think it's the only one.
Basically.
Or Earth Sigil?
Yeah, the Earth
Yeah.
Sigil.
There's another Earth Sigil, I think, but the no, it's an amulet. I mean, it's good. The draw card is better than an O2, so you just play it and it's fine.
It
It's
also
not
gets you
great,
some
it's not
value
bad.
if you use like the Earthright effect.
Yeah. The draw card is better than an O2, and then, I don't know, you slot it instead of the O2, hope that your Earthright cards are good enough. But really, you're a burn deck, so...
We're
The
going to
card-
see better Earthright cards.
Okay.
We're going to
hope
see them. Hint, hint.
All right. Here is Mysterian Grimoire. It is a fanfare. Draw 2 cards at the end of this turn. Discard all spells in your hand.
Why does this card exist?
I don't know.
Ugh.
You tell me.
Can I please screen cap my notes on this card and then put it in the chat? Because it's my notes for this card is, why does this card exist? It's all it says.
PTP Rune, I guess, so you can discard your Altered Fates.
Ooh, value. It's good if you don't have any spells. So why are we playing Runecraft?
I don't know. I can't answer it.
Okay.
This
So
has been
we're
rough.
off to a pretty rocky start on the Runecraft. All right. But
Well,
Up next, we got Gingerbread House, which is 3-mana amulet with Fanfare. Deal 2 damage to an enemy follower, restore a 2 defense to your leader. It's also a Nerf sigil, so that other one wasn't the only one.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
it's
thought so.
a slightly better version of Red Hot Ritual.
It's a slightly tastier version of Red Hot Ritual.
I like your
3 mana.
like your style.
3 mana cards are also a lot less flexible than 2 mana.
Oh yeah. I don't think the 2 defense will be relevant enough in the current Earthright decks, and I don't think that there's enough Earthright support in the set to make new Earthright decks better, which makes me sad because I still have 3 Pascals crafted, and I'm never disenchanting them, but I'm trying. I don't like it either. It just doesn't feel like it does enough.
This card looks like Price of Magic, but you get to gain 2 life instead of vanishing. I think you'll want that occasionally. I think the biggest problem is that it costs 3 mana when you can do the same thing with what's that card called? Red Hot Ritual. And yeah, you don't gain 2 life, but I think 1 mana is too big of a difference.
Okay, up next is Illusionist. It's a 5-mana 4/4 with the Fanfare effect. Randomly summon one of your highest cost followers that has been destroyed during this match and give it Rush. Banish it at the start of your next turn.
Man.
This would be so scary in any other class.
I feel like this is.
I want it to be good.
I feel like this is one of those cards
with relevant followers
that we would like see on like the front page of Reddit of someone doing like some awesome combo that's like just not plausible in any sense. That's basically what that card is.
It looks kind of like Sahakeel for dead followers rather than followers that are in your hand.
It's a worse version of Sahakeel.
Yeah. You can just put Sahakeel on your Rune decks, by the way. That's a neutral, not a dragon card.
The issue is that Sahakeel, you can play it on 7 or after 7. You can't play this on 5.
You can, it's just bad.
Dude,
I mean, actually, is it that bad? Let's put it this way. What if you lost a 3/3 randomly on the earlier turns of the game, and this is a 5-mana 4/4 that does 3 damage? Isn't that great?
I mean, I could consider this in maybe like an aggressive tempo style deck, where that like tempo swing of removing something without using an Evo point could be meaningful.
Yeah,
Or maybe you build your deck to where you only play out a Levi before this, right?
yeah,
Then you play this card, evolve the Levi.
and
That's
then you get
actually
an,
disgusting.
yeah, so you get another
6
like,
Levi's,
another-
PogChamp.
In my notes, I wrote that this card probably sucks, but somewhere someone will break it. But like, I don't know. My mindset was if it gets back a Halo Golem, then my Halo Golem died, which means I'm losing the game. So I didn't really feel like I wanted to play it very much.
Okay, let's move on to the Shadow Mage. It's a 6-mana 5/6 with Ward Fanfare. If there are cards in your hand that have been spell boosted fewer than 5 times, spell boosted cards until they have been spell boosted a total of 5 times.
It's decent for like.
I can see like Daria playing this.
I don't
I
like
can't.
this in Daria.
Like,
Yeah.
If you're
filthy.
playing a Daria deck and you hit turn 6 and for some reason you have cards in your hand that haven't been spell boosted 5 times, the
just
concede
concede.
button's in the top left corner. You can just click on that.
you've bricked so hard that you're like, sick. I drew this card that unbricks me, but you're already dead. So the other problem is that like Daria already spell boosts all your cards 5 times. So if you draw it
Exactly.
off of a Daria, it doesn't do anything unless you brick on Daria and then draw it and then draw other cards that have a spell boost. If it said spell boosted fewer than 6 times, it would be playable. But like, there's not really a use in Runecraft for like wards of this size at the moment. D-Shift doesn't defend itself; it just wins the game. Daria doesn't see a ton of play. The Earthright deck we'll just be burning you off the table at that point or losing. So I don't really see where it would go.
Speaking of
Let's
burning
have
you off
sweet
the
art,
top, we got Master Mage Levi next. 6 mana 4/4
Jesus.
with Fanfare, deal 3 damage to an enemy, Earthright, and deal 3 damage to all enemies instead. This
Does
is
the
basically
Earthright hit face?
yes.
Yes.
Oh,
This card
yes.
is unreal.
It's
This card
basically
is unreal.
the card for ER burn.
Remember when Levi was just a mage who was as old as dirt and everybody complained about him all the time because Rune was so good? You can go back to complaining all the time about Levi. He's just going to kill you on turn 6 instead of turn 4, if that's okay with you.
Well, now
Because
there's
this card is insane.
that is 18, or is it? Yeah, it's 18 unmitigatable damage if you draw all 3 of your regular Levi's and then all 3 of these.
Yeah.
That is 18 unmitigatable damage by turn 9. I would hope that someone had defended themselves by that.
I mean,
You have to like also Earth Sigil on turns 1 and that's
You
tough.
don't even need the sigils. He just deals 3 face damage.
Oh, you're right. Oh no.
I mean,
He's
breaks
so-
the mirror as well, right? I mean, it clears all the 3/3 wards as well with the Earthright ability because it's all enemies. So
Yeah.
in the mirror is pretty good as well.
It's
felt-
also good against Death Breath.
I feel like this goes back to like what Stars was saying earlier about like previously they added a bunch of cards to like deal like 2 damage board wide, and now it's gonna be like 3 damage. Seems like we kind of like power creeped there a bit on the AOE damage.
I think the AoE damage on that is like
Speaking of power
kind
creep,
of okay though. Oh no, I
Speaking
think
of
it's
power
kind
creep,
of jeez,
this
dude.
is
No. Go ahead.
speaking of power creep. This is a better version of Disaster Witch.
Oh, almost certainly.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, absolutely. But I think that the Earthright effect being conditional makes it okay. It doesn't feel like it's power creep because you don't get it every time. Where like Wrath Drake is really good, but you have to pay the enhance for it. Some of those effects you just have to pay the extra price for it. You can play this in aggro dirt. It's gonna be sick. Aggro dirt's gonna be good. Promise you. I kind of promise you. It might be bad.
We're pretty sure.
We're pretty
I mean,
sure.
that's what we were all saying last expansion.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
the
but you
burn
guys
deck,
all crafted hulking giant instead of Rune Halo or Halo Golem. You just gotta,
I think this
cut,
card's
cut
gonna,
it
it's gonna
down.
see play in any rune deck that's not D-shift. Why wouldn't you play this? Even
Yeah.
if you don't have the Earthrights, it's still damage to whatever you want.
It's flexible too. You can
Throw
kill
in
like
some Earthshocks,
6/6.
You throw in Earthshocks ogres with this, that's 27 unmitigatable damage,
Oh
man.
no. Oh no.
What I know about how Stars plays the game: you attack face, and then you clear wards and attack face, and then if you're playing Runecraft, you burn face. You have unmitigatable damage.
Star Smork.
With Demonic Strike, you can deal 36 completely uninteractive damage.
You reckon Master Mage Levi will be like our Grimnir's equivalent for this new expansion?
Basically. Wait, we gotta make it our new
No.
thing to top deck this card for lethal.
Grimnir, Grimnir doesn't really count. Cause wait. If you play Grimnir, you have 48 unmitigatable damage.
Alright, this game
I
upstairs.
think we've counted
Alright, let's-
enough of this.
Alright, let's move on.
let's go to Follies, the Leondonan Mage. It's a 5 mana 3/6 with the Fanfare. Deal X damage to an enemy follower. X equals the number of neutral cards in your hand. Enhance 7. Then evolve this follower. And when you evolve, it gains Storm, which goes back to like the aggro dirt thing that we're talking about. This is pretty good for that.
I don't know. Neutral cards are hard, man. Rune struggles to have enough neutrals because they have to play them out. I'm not
Man,
totally
this is-
sold.
This is Runecraft Albert.
We're in
The
Hellbird.
fanfare doesn't matter, dude. It's basically like Albert.
Just for the
Turn
storm.
5. Turn 5 Evo face. I mean,
It's a 4/7 for 5 in your head. I mean, that's probably fine. I could be looking at it the wrong way.
I think this card
Yeah.
is very
I
reasonable.
think you are. This card is like really, really good.
Yeah.
If you can get any damage at all off of the trigger, I think this card is playable.
Even
Like-
if it just like cleans up a 2-drop and then you
Yeah.
just send this face, that's still.
No, yeah, that's good. I
Yeah,
just want to play Pascal,
like
man.
it.
Stop telling me to replace my Pascals with cards that do stuff.
You know
No.
what card does do stuff? We got Golem Assault. It's a 2-mana spell. put a Conjure
This is
Guardian into your hand, enhance 6. Put 2 more into your hand. Earthright, subtract 1 from the cost of all Conjure Guardians in your hand. Conjure Guardian's like a 2-mana spell that summons a Guardian Golem, which is a 3/3 ward, which is
So you're gonna go to all the effort of doing this when it's going to play.
this is pretty good for like the old style of like Earth Rune. You know what I mean? Because like before you just really had like Prince or like what Professor of Taboos.
Yeah. Why would you play this over?
You wouldn't.
I guess it's like flexible. I don't know.
Can they actually go into like a PTP deck or something where you just like defend like crazy and then you just PTP later on?
I don't know. I'm not convinced.
I don't
It's
think
Why
this
would you
card's
play
good.
this?
Too slow.
wouldn't.
Like, if you enhance this, you spent 6 mana and did nothing. That's a
Yeah,
disaster. You can't do that in this game. I think we can go next on this one. Maybe
Okay.
it'll see a little bit of play, but I doubt it.
We got Abomination Awaken. It's a 3-mana 6/6. Can attack if the number of cards in your hand increases to 9 during your turn. Evolve this follower and deal 3 damage to all enemy followers. Can attack.
Feels bad, man. Can
I
attack.
don't understand this card.
Okay, so this card seems really hard to get the trigger off for most decks. People have been saying D-Shift, but I think D-Shift, I personally think D-Shift will have a hard time with this 3-mana non-spell. Like, I have a hard enough time playing my Sork caches on curve just to be able to continue with my game plan. This is a 3-mana card that doesn't spell boost anything, doesn't progress my game plan, and then I have to do a lot of work to get myself up to 9 cards after just wasting one from my hand.
I mean, but most of the time when you're playing D-Shift, you're like right around like the like maximum hand size for like the majority of the game. So
You
maybe
are,
this
but-
could see you playing that, but other than that,
You
no.
You are, but usually because you're spending all of your mana every turn playing cycling cards and Fate's Hands. This doesn't do that.
Yeah, I mean, it, and even when it's evolved, it can attack, but it's not like a storm or anything. So you still have to wait for the next turn as well. So
Yeah.
I'm not too sure about it.
The
It
thing
can
is, if
live
you play
through a
this-
turn 3.
Well,
Yeah.
if you play this and you evo it, you're playing D-Shift, you're gonna be using this to trade. It's not like you can just change game plans and smork your opponent down. You have to use this to trade. So I mean, it's that line doesn't really matter. It could be like a 3/6, a 4/6, and still have the same effect.
And wouldn't you rather Evo a Levi?
I would rather
Same.
Evo a ham sandwich. Anything. I'm not excited about it. It's
Yeah.
too hard to use.
It might be
Well,
good in an
yeah.
Earthright deck where you're spamming Conjure Golems into your hand, and then this is actually a reward for that. Like maybe you play that 6-mana enhance we just looked at, fill your hand, and then this says I have something for this turn. This something is destroying your board and hitting you for 6. It seems hard to reliably get though.
That's a long shot, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe our other legendary is good though.
Yeah, let's move on to Wizardress
Question
of
mark?
Oz. It is a 5-mana 4/5 that with the fanfare effect, draw cards until there are 5 cards in your hand. It changes the cost of the spells without spell boost in your hand to 1. Last words at the start of your turn, banish all spells in your hand.
This card's broken.
Yeah, it's like Daria
It
cousin.
is pretty insane.
Like, just think of the burn, man. You can get 1-mana Dance of Deaths, 1-mana Demonic Strikes, 1-mana Mutagenic Bolts, all the face damage.
Yeah, I
Agreed.
think this is very powerful. You're probably not going to play it on 5. You're probably going to wait till something like turn 7 or something, really empty your hand out, and then suddenly Wizardess of Oz, and you can play unnerfed piercing runes, and you can turn your demonic strikes into crimson sorceries. Like, this is just going to blow somebody out.
You reckon you can go hand in hand with Daria, or like it's gonna be like a standalone in another deck?
I don't think it will see play in Daria. Sadly, it costs 5 actual mana, and you have to play. And Daria is
actual.
Daria is full of 1 and 2 mana spells that, when you make them cost 1 instead, don't really break the game. I want to be casting 5 and 6 mana spells with this card, not 1 and 2.
Yeah, you want to be dropping some serious, like, intense stuff.
Daria already refills your hand. I think Wizardess can like you said, cast a bunch of like big cards, not like explosion level big, but like, you know, playable big cards like Dance to Death and stuff. It looks good.
Want there to be
It's just-
Yes, it looks good.
It does look good. All right, let's move on to our first Dragoncraft follower. It's a dragon summoner. It's a 2-mana 1/2. It's basically just like a tutor and pulls a random Dragoncraft follower from your deck into your hand. I don't think there's like really a whole lot to say about this card, honestly. It's a tutor.
It's
If
kind
you
of like
can play
mana
enough
draw.
neutrals, is it good?
no.
Can you
because-
play enough neutrals?
No, it can tutor itself. So
Oh no.
yeah. So before you get any crazy ideas about going, I'm gonna get Ouroboros with this every single time. No, it can get itself, and then you have to pay 2 more mana and then flip a coin again to see if you get your Ouroboros. No,
What you do
thanks.
is you play 3 Goblin Mages, then 3 of this.
No.
You play all 3 of the Goblin Mages first. And then you
No.
play all 3 of these. And you...
And then you tutor for your tutor, so you can tutor while you're tutoring.
I believe that those are not
Think of the
competitive
deck planning.
choices.
Okay. Well,
Okay,
move on.
let's move on to Elder Tortoise. It is a 4-mana 2/4 with fanfare. Recover 1 evolution point if overflow is active for you. Not particularly
Pretty.
good.
I mean, the fanfare is good. And, like, the thing is with Dragon, you normally end up with some, like, awkward-ass turns where you're bricked. You're, like, your turn 7 consists of, like, Ayla. Maybe a dragon, is it a Breath of the Salamander? Something like that. So, I mean, I think you could maybe squeeze this in as, like, a 2 of, just for some cheese factor, you know?
I'm not
The
playing
cheesy
it.
tortoise.
I'm never
Yeah, like-
putting this in my deck.
Same here. It's absolutely terrible.
It's
Dude, why are you guys hating on the turtle?
because it's not good enough.
Because if you have overflow, that means you have 7 mana. Why are you spending it on a card I would barely play for? Like,
Well, some of us happen to not draw well relatively frequently. So,
I mean, this
Okay,
is a bad card on turn 4 and a bad card on turn 7. What else can you say about it?
Let's move on to like another bad card. It's a Dragon Sculpture. It's a 4-mana amulet that summons a dragon.
Ooh,
It's
we chalk this one up as worst card in the set. Is Dragon Sculpture worst card in the set? It's close, right?
It's pretty close. I honestly don't even think we have to talk about this card. It's like self-explanatory.
Yeah,
that's
no,
You
it's a
can't
no.
you can't evolve it and trade into something. That's just a disaster.
At the end of the turn, if you're losing, still be losing because you have Dragon
Yeah.
Sculptures in your deck.
Okay, up
Oh,
next
no.
is Ebon Beastwar.
What a
7
nightmare.
mana, 6/8 with Ward, Fanfare. Randomly discard one of your lowest cost Dragoncraft cards in your hand. This is like one of like the few Disco Dragon support this expansion.
It costs too much, I think.
I
It's got
agree.
Ward. Ugh.
Yeah.
I feel like
I don't
if this
get-
was like 5 mana, it would be like okay, or something like with like
no
less stats.
kidding. 6/8. Okay.
Yeah,
5
but like
mana,
at 7
6/8.
mana, like there's so many like other stuff you'd rather be playing at 7 mana.
Like
Like
Saha
Turtle.
Keel.
Yeah,
No.
like Turtle.
We'll just
Yeah.
put this away in the closet full of discard dragon memes and call it good.
Yeah, okay. Apparently the line's not so great without the waifu. So let's
No.
let's move on to A Master of Draconic Arts, 3 mana 1/4 with Ward, Clash, gain +4/+0 until the end of the turn if Overflow is active free. I think this card's pretty solid.
It's a good aggro dragon card.
Yeah.
It's like, is it better than other aggro dragon cards though?
No, there's a
Hard
lot
to
of
say.
other 3
Yep.
mana
Yeah.
aggro dragon cards.
I think if this came out a couple expansions ago, it would be broken because back then everyone was still.
Basically.
It's
Yeah.
it's just too unreliable.
I agree. Doesn't
It's
quite
like-
fit.
Cleric Lancer, but needs Overflow.
Yeah.
Meh.
Okay.
Yeah, but, like usually when you hit Overflow, you don't really want to play cards like this anymore.
Yeah, it's
You want to play cards like Turtle.
no.
Or
Oh,
Hippogriff, rather. It's a 5 mana 2/4 with Storm. Whatever an allied follower attacks, gain +1/+0. Honestly, to me, this is going to replace Seabrand Dragon and Aggro Dragon for me personally. I think it's a solid replacement because I feel like
You've
The
been running
Seabrand Dragon.
in there.
yeah, okay, it works. I only run it as like a 2 of. This is probably also going to be like a 2 of, but
So you can Emissary and draw a useless card.
I don't run
You
Emissary
don't
though.
Emissary in that
Yeah.
deck. So yeah, I agree. I think this card makes a lot of sense in Aggro Dragon. Especially because you were like that deck. I think that deck's biggest problem was that it could curve out, and then you wanted to wait a couple turns to Overflow to get all of your big Storm plays. And this is one that you can drop on turn 5 and just hit face,
I felt like the
as opposed to Seabrand.
5 mana slot was like pretty like sketchy on Aggro Dragon. That's why like I personally ran Peace Worm. That was like my 5 drop.
The point is,
I guess the
Emissary.
good thing is that you can play this and then like hold off on Forte and play Forte later,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly. That's what I like so much about this.
It also permanently buffs your cards. So like
Yeah.
And
that's really good. It's basically like Wind God, except it attacks that turn. So it's a more aggressive Wind God and only dragon with a little bit less toughness. I'm in. I'm playing.
Yeah,
I would play
I
it.
think that's a playable card.
yeah,
I would
it's
start
definitely
with
playable.
2 or something.
Yeah, I don't think it's a 3 of. It's definitely like a 2 of max. Okay, let's move on to the.
I'm
Oh,
still not sure.
okay.
I don't know. I personally prefer running the Emissary Forte package with like Anas as well.
Okay.
You can
I
just
don't know.
run all 3.
Again, you don't draw well. We get it. You got tutor for your win
Next is
cons.
the,
We just draw them.
The giant enemy crab, the 9 mana 6/8 with Ward, and Ward when it's evolved. And last words, put a force. I don't know. I'm not gonna play this card.
Dude, it's
a terrible
Ouroboros.
guy.
It's Ouroboros if he was a crab, with a
This
castle on
card
his
is
back.
bad.
It's a big meme, but it's a big meme. No, it costs 9, so it's trash. I don't know. I
It's so
I
bad.
wouldn't play it. It costs 9 and needs an Evo. It's terrible. Moving on. Bad crab is bad.
Okay.
Can you imagine eating a crab that big?
No, and that
It would
be
taste like a
horrible.
castle.
Oof.
All right.
Now we have memes in the sea and memes in the sky.
We got a Draconic Lance. It's a 6 mana spell. Destroy an enemy follower. If you play follower that originally cost at least 5 play points, change the cost of this card to 4. So basically, you play it at like 10 mana. If you want to like get like the most value out of it.
No.
Why would you play this?
Dance of Death any day.
That's a good question. You wouldn't.
You can always put Dance of Death into your deck, and that's a neutral card, by the way.
Yeah.
I mean, why would you even play this over Call of Casitas? Like,
Yeah, I'm not seeing it.
I am not either. I wish it was good, because it looks cool. Art's great. Card
Okay.
sucks.
Let's move on to some better Dragoncraft cards. Okay, we got Dramatic Dragon Blade. It's a 3 mana 5/6 with Ward, and it summons your enemy dragon. And if you evolve it, you banish that dragon. This card is really, really good for aggro dragon.
I mean, I guess.
Like a
Is it though?
3 mana 5/6. That's really hard to deal with.
It's
I don't
it's
agree.
If you play it on curve, it's just gonna die to that in a 1-drop.
I mean, technically, you'd play it on like 4 with like, I don't know, I guess like a 1-drop or something.
Well, my problem is that you can't play it on 3, so you play it on 4. But if you're on the play and you play it on 4, then it still dies to a 1-drop because you don't have an evo point. And so then you play it on 5, and now it's actually not that big anymore, and you're kind of being mana inefficient. Like, and it's a 5/1.
Yeah.
A noob trap, not like this.
This card's a noob trap.
Oh no.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
You've fallen into the noob trap, SunFire.
Okay, dude, dude, all these 3-mana golden. Oh, dude, they're so good. Up next,
Also,
we got Rage Worm.
it dies to Momo.
Rage Worm. This is a card that
This
I'm
is so
very
good.
excited for.
It's a 3-mana 0/5. It turns into a 10/10 if you evolve it. It's so good.
This is probably one of the best cards I've ever seen. Honestly, I'm probably gonna be running this as a 3-up.
You like literally force an answer out of your opponent. If they can't deal with this shit, they're taking 10 damage to the dome next turn.
Dude, this card is. I'm actually.
Not like
I'm
this.
excited for this card.
I am
think
also
this
very
card is
excited for this.
bad.
Dude, like,
I was to say, isn't this card also bad?
no,
What?
dude,
I think-
I'm so excited for this.
The thing is, in an aggro deck, you can kind of run. And this is soft taunt, so it protects the followers that you've already played. Because your opponent obviously is going to prioritize killing this. And if
Yeah.
it survives, it's a win more card. It's high risk, high reward, which is something that aggro can actually run. The problem with the last card is that it's high risk, very, very small reward.
Small.
The reason this card is good because of the fact that you can play it on 3. If your opponent answers it, oh well, that's fine. You bought yourself a turn to keep your board intact and push more damage. If they can't, then they just take 10 to the dome when you get your evo point.
Yeah. But it does suck when you run out evo points and when you top deck this
Well,
kind of cards.
I was to say, it's not a great draw in the, like, if you're in a situation where you're top decking, it's kind of bad. If your opponent's playing, like, a deck with a ton of wards, it's kind of bad. I'm not totally sold on it. I'm happy to have my opponent play red Rage Worms against me. I'm okay with that. If you want to take turn 3 and 4 to, like, Rage Worm me down 10, I will fight you for 10 if you skip turns 3 and 4. I'm cool with that.
I'm gonna be running the Rage Worm, or like the worm combo, with the peace
I
worm and the
mean,
Rage Worm.
5 defense is pretty hard to take down as well.
I think this card, well, because the thing is, even if you get one swing in with this, then you just need to have gotten 3 chip damage, then an evolved Forte closes the game.
If they have no wards. Wards is
Well,
good,
like,
man.
well, like this card just basically forces an answer out of your opponent, which is like, I don't know. I like it.
Kind of like, yeah, I like this card.
Okay,
Goes face hard.
let's move on to Tilting at Windmills. It's a 7-minute amulet. Whenever you play a nature follower, you give it Storm, and you destroy it at the end of the turn.
I'm tilting at this design.
Yeah, but yes.
Makes things go face. I'm all for it.
I know you are.
I
It's
think
the
it's not
smarkiest
that
smart
good.
card ever.
This is like one of those cards that's either like really good or really bad, and there's like no in between.
It doesn't work
I
with
thought it was-
Bahamut.
I thought it was good. JaZe said anything about it. I thought it was bad. So go ahead, JaZe.
You can't Saha kill the thing that you're gonna attack with. You like, is it really that big of a deal? Like, if you can Lucifer their face and gain some life when you could just Saha kill that same card in and do basically the same thing except not hit face.
If you evolved Lucifer, you can deal freaking 13 damage to their face in 1 turn.
13. Okay. Cool. I
That's
don't know. I'm not seeing. I don't care.
It's the Zel Bahamut combo, but 1 mana cheaper.
Okay. Here's what's gonna happen. You're going to play this on 7, and then your opponent's gonna hit you. Then you're gonna play your Lucifer and evolve it to face, and it's gonna do 13 damage. And then your opponent's gonna hit you again. You have done literally nothing on turns 7 and 8, while your opponent has been hitting you the entire time. This card is like that. This is not a scenario you actually want.
I think this card's gonna be sleeper hope. All right, man.
Alright.
Okay, let's move on
All
to Worm God of the Skies. It's a 9-mana 5/6. Last words during your next turn: double the attack and defense of each allied Dragoncraft follower that comes into play.
I was pretty sure we already covered the Dragoncraft legendaries in the neutral section. We can probably skip the next.
Oh my god! Dude.
We already covered the Dragon legendaries. We can move on. Everybody's looked at them. Everybody's complained about them. This card is not that good. You can double your followers though. You can make a 20 damage.
Okay,
Rage Worm.
let's move on to the Jabberwock.
Except that's not how it works.
Which
it
is
doubles from 0 to 0.
Which is also a
doesn't
bad
even work.
legendary card. Oh no, dude, Dragoncraft's not like this. It's like,
Jabberwock
I'm
at
okay
least.
with this.
Dude, you're getting
Hold
the
on.
forest treatment from last expansion.
Oh, yeah.
Jabberwock at least does cool stuff.
Yes.
The other card
Does
makes
cool
your
stuff.
minions bigger, and then they still die to all the same removal spells because making your like 8 for a 16/8, it still just dies to Dance to Death. Jabberwock does neat things. It at least can maybe combo maybe, but it's probably also bad. It's got better art too. Was bad.
This just gets a simple K from me. All right.
The deck is too hard. It can pull other Jabberwocks, meaning that even if you craft the beautiful combo where you always get something insane with your Jabberwocks, you can just pull a couple more 7/7s and be really sad. I don't think this card is remotely playable. I don't think this is even like an exciting meme. Like,
Is it an exciting meme with Roost? Can we like?
If Roost ever
There's
comes out of
some-
maintenance,
if Roost ever comes back, I would rather combine it with the previous legendary than this.
Oh, the Dragoncraft one from earlier. The
Yes.
one we covered at the very beginning.
Though,
Dread Queen?
no. All right.
Man.
Okay,
let's just say Dragon got nothing.
let's move on to the Shadowcraft. We got Skeleton Ogre. It's a 2-mana 1/4. Whenever this follower attacks, use Necromancy 4 and gain +2/0. I think it's really bad.
It's a 2 mana 1/4 that uses all of your shadows to become playable.
I feel like
I don't know.
I feel like I'm spoiled by Shadow Reaper now. All other 2-drops in Shadow just feel bad to me.
I mean, Shadow
And
Reaper
also
is now a 3-drop, so those comparisons are now unfair, sir.
This is an aggro card for, like, you can't run this in a mid-range shadow deck because you actually need shadows for that.
Yeah.
Shadows that are being wasted on this card.
You need shadows in aggro though too. You need them for Phantom
You
Howl
need a
and you need
total
them
of
for
5.
Soul Splasher.
you
You need like
5
9.
shadows.
You gotta have like 9. Okay, even if you only need 5, you might not have enough if you attack with a Skeleton Ogre before. And it like doesn't really trade with anything too well in the early game. Like a 1/4 stat line isn't that good against a lot of the 3-drops that we've showcased today, or 3-drops that are currently played a lot of. So I'm not sold.
Kills fairies.
I'm also not sold.
You know, Shadow's a good matchup.
I don't like it.
It's got sweet art. The art's great.
It does look cool. Look at him. Look at him.
Look at him. He just has no muscles on his bones. The 1/4. You gotta hit the
He's
gym
a
like
very
stars.
spoopy. Alright, moving on to Demon Eater. It's a 2-mana 1/2. Fanfare, destroy an allied follower and draw 2 cards. Doesn't activate if no other followers are in play.
It's like soul conversion in the body, isn't it?
Basically.
I don't like this
I
card
mean, it's
because Soul Conversion does it better, I think.
Yeah.
It's not a bad card. It's not good, but it's not bad.
Like, you'd probably just like play it in
Agreed.
like aggro, but I mean,
The only
besides that,
situation I see it. The only situation it's better is in multiples when you also have the play points to play multiples. So it's not that good.
Well, when you
I
think
don't know.
about it, this is actually a pretty mana efficient card though, because Soul Conversion itself costs 1 mana, and you get a 1-mana 1/2 with it. So like I said, it's not really good, but it's not bad either. It's just
No, it's a goblin.
Yeah. And
A
I don't
Goblin
think
for 2
Goblin
mana.
is a card that we're excited about.
Yeah, okay, let's move on to Haunted House. It's a 1-mana amulet. Countdown 3, whatever an allied follower, excluding Ghost, is destroyed during your turn, summon a Ghost. A Ghost, as you guys know, it's a 1/1 with Storm. Not particularly amazing.
It seems kind of like that
Anime.
the forest card that we saw earlier that
Yeah,
makes all your followers have clash.
The 2-mana
Except
one.
this goes face. This can go face. Also, imagine playing this and trading your entire board and then playing an Ector.
Oh.
Gross.
12
Get out of
face
here.
Oh my
damage.
Okay, I think I just like completely 180 on this card.
12 face damage.
It's
Aren't
not
you guys
12
excited?
though, because it's the amulet's in the way.
Oh,
Oh.
you're right.
It's only,
Oh, it's 9
Yeah.
face damage. Okay.
Unplayable.
I think I'll
It's
take
only-
9 face
only
damage.
half your opponent's health.
I mean,
But
I'm
wait,
just
why would
saying.
you- Why would you trade your entire board if you already had a board built?
that, boys and girls, was my next point. Why is your board all O1s where this would be better than that? It is not. But a cute thought.
Probably isn't. But like, there's some good value that you could get in here with like trading in a bunch of skeletons and then having them all do 1 face damage. Maybe. I'm gonna put this at a maybe.
Okay.
Moving along.
Let's move on to Mad Hatter. It's a 7-mana 4/5 with Fanfare, destroy an allied follower, and then summon a Tin Soldier. It doesn't affect if no other allied followers are in play. Necromancy 6, put one of the highest cost followers that has been destroyed during this match into your hand. A Tin Soldier is a 4/5, devolves into a 5/6,
What?
and you evolve it, and it deals 3 damage to the enemy. That's a lot of text.
That's Usher of Styx's thing is at the Necromancy 6. That's Usher of Styx's effect. That's not Mad Hatter.
Oh, did I get this mixed up? I think I might have gotten it mixed up. Okay.
It's okay.
This one just
no,
does.
Yeah, so sorry to anybody who was confused. It does not have the Necromancy 6 text.
Okay. My bad.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's just the
I was-
fanfare effect. So it destroys
like,
an enemy follower.
oh.
But it doesn't.
Yeah. Okay.
I must have misread it the first time, but no. Yeah, if it gives you the Tin Soldier, Tin Soldier's okay. For 7 mana though, a pair of 4/5s kind of underwhelming.
This fails the test of why aren't you playing Ector instead?
Yeah,
Okay.
Actor's real good.
That was almost
Not
playable
that
for a
person.
second there.
It was only
was so close.
playable because it gives you your Ector back. Is the
Yeah.
reason why I thought it was playable. So we'll move on. This card's
Okay.
not buffed.
Here's
It's bad.
Usher of Strix. It's a 2-mana 2/2 with the Necromancy. You put one of your highest cost followers that has been destroyed during this match into your hand.
Why would you
This
play
is
this
a-
card?
This is a cool card. So I think the biggest problem with this card is that my preferred target for it would be Ector,
Ector.
the card, you know? And this eats 6 of the shadows that you were about to use on that, making Ector not even that impressive of a play anymore.
Yeah,
Maybe,
even
like,
if,
with
Maybe for
Shadowcraft.
Nephthys Shadow.
Yeah, but even
if
then,
you're
like, the
Nephthys Shadow,
shadows-
what are you pulling?
I mean,
You're gonna
Nephthys Shadow can always end up with like 9 million shadows that you can't use.
Right, but you're pulling what, like a Mordecai? Do you really want to play another Mordecai for 8 mana when you can just play Nephthys
It could-
instead
it
and
could hit
it
Nephthys.
makes a
No, I'm
Mordecai
saying-
for you?
This could hit Nephthys again.
Yeah, but you can
Right.
hit Nep with this, and it sucks compared to like drawing a card.
I'm
But-
just saying.
I mean, Nephthys gets worse every time you play it. Like, you only have so
Yeah.
many cards you to pull from your deck. Like, I don't think Nephthys really needs a backup plan.
I
think
wish it
this
was
is
good.
This is mainly
But
take
it's
2
not.
filler.
Yeah, I don't see this being great and competitive. It's gonna be a 2-mana 2/2 far too often, and you can play better cards that do something like Summoner or Conjurer or Lyrial.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna say it's like a 2 stars has potential.
2 stars.
Yes.
Mhm.
PogChamp. Alright. We got Siren's Tears. It's 2-mana amulet. Destroy a random allied Shadowcraft follower at the end of your turn. If you have both a Shadowcraft follower and a neutral follower in play, then give a random allied neutral follower plus X plus X. X equals the attack of the destroyed Shadowcraft follower. So that's a lot to take in.
Yeah, so basically it eats one of your neutral or shadow followers every turn and converts it into stats for one of your neutral followers. This is a really hard card to even like trigger consistently, and then you have to
by Dance of Death.
Yeah, like it turns all of your stats into one big thing, and one big thing in this game traditionally has not been a great way to spend your resources. Like
Tribunal, Dance
Yeah.
of
Remember
Death,
remember one of the
Sledgehammer.
most important parts of Shadowcraft. What if splitting my minions, if you split all your followers up, they get better because you have Actor in your deck. Just making it all one guy is worse. I
Yeah.
wouldn't play this. It gets in the way of my
Yeah.
zombies from Actor.
Yeah,
Actor.
I don't like it.
I also don't like it. Alright, let's move on to Nightmare Executioner. It's a 4-mana 0/3 with Bane and Clash draw a card. I think this card's pretty solid. It'll probably see some play somewhere.
0/3 though.
I'm not excited about it really.
It's like
what deck is that gonna see play in?
Not a deck with Actor. So not in
Doesn't fit in
Shadowcraft.
Nephthys. So it doesn't fit in Nephthys, doesn't fit in midrange, doesn't fit in aggro. Why does this card exist?
it's a cool card. It's a
I-
big
I
deal.
like it. I like the concept.
It's a badass version of a Ding Ding Dong.
the scariest ding dong to ever walk the earth. Ding dong doesn't even walk the earth. She flies.
Yeah. I'd rather
Man.
play Ding Dong.
Okay, let's
So would I.
Ding Dong at least has ward. This, your opponent can ignore it and make. I mean, then you have to trade it, but still, it's just.
Yuck.
Yeah, and it's 0 attack, so Bane doesn't even trigger.
No, it does trigger.
Actually, Bane does trigger.
Oh, it does?
Yeah.
Alright, okay, fine. Then that's not too bad.
Okay, let's move
Still
on to the
not putting it
Caterpillar.
in my deck.
I always had the impression they had to at least deal a damage for Bane to trigger.
Alright, we got Caterpillar Riddles. It is a 4-mana 4/3 with Fanfare. Give all other neutral followers +1/+1 and deal 2 damage to all other allied Shadowcraft followers.
I mean, this is decent if you have some good last words.
Yeah.
I thought that it would be a good if you used the ability as an enabler on your own followers,
Yeah, for example.
and then also have a way to trigger the upside, then it's good, but that's going to be so difficult. I'm just not sold.
But this, like,
Yeah.
you'd rather just focus on one build, and then why would you run this over Alice?
Exactly. This card being
Yeah.
outclassed by Alice most of the time is kind of rough. It's also outclassed by another card we're gonna see real soon for triggering your Shadowcraft last words.
Okay. We got Odile, Black Swan, a 6-mana 5/4. Fanfare, summon an enemy Odette, White Swan, then evolve this follower. And this card, when it's evolved at the end of your turn, it deal 2 damage to all enemies. And then Odette, the White Swan, at the end of your turn, restore 2 defense to all allies. It has like another effect, but I don't think it triggers off of this card. Is that correct?
Yeah, unless you bounce it. So the other fanfare effect is that you get to summon the enemy or this Black Swan instead. And then you evolve your White Swan.
Yeah, so the key part is that you're going to summon something for your enemy, and this card immediately evolves and is able to trade into that. You're left with a 6/1, and then you get to do 2 damage to all enemies. It's a pretty powerful effect, I think.
I think this card is going to be pretty strong in control. Shadow
I like-
is.
I liked it. It looked good. I'm not sure how powerful it'll be. I like the other version better. Odette seems like it'll be stronger, but Odile is like not bad if you can get a good board clear off.
Yeah, I quite like both of them. Okay.
I mean, it's like Dark John in the end.
Yeah. Dark John is a good comparison, I think.
It's like a Dark John without debuffs, pretty much.
Oh yeah,
And it doesn't hit your side of the board either.
Upsides. Alright, up next we got Poison Apple of Rebirth. It's a 2-mana spell. Change a neutral follower into a Shadowcraft follower. Get a follower last word, summon another follower of that same name. That's like a pretty weird card, honestly.
I think it's not a great card, but before we write it off completely, imagine casting this on a Goblin Mountain Demon.
Yeah.
That's obnoxious.
This is like one of those cards that needs like heavy testing in order for it to
I have
realize
no
the
idea
true
how good
potential.
this is.
I wrote down that this is like good in neutral shadow if I can find a way to play neutral shadow. I'm not actively searching for a way to play neutral shadow though, so I don't think it'll see play unless neutral shadow comes out as the preferred mid-rangey or aggro shadow build. And if it's not, then you won't see it. And if it is, have fun again beating through some sort of ridiculous 5-drop twice.
Yeah.
Yeah, might see play, but I think most unlikely. Even like with a neutral Shadowcraft deck, I don't think you'll see it in play. There are probably like other better options.
If it was the other way around, I think it would be better. If it was
if
turn
it
a
worked on
Shadowcraft
Shadow?
into a new.
Yeah, that would be more likely to see play.
Alright, moving along.
Okay, up next we got Dead Morose. It's a 5-mana 5/7. Fanfare, destroy all other allied Shadowcraft followers. Restore X defense to your leader. X equals the number of followers destroyed by this effect.
So the most it can heal you for is 4.
Ideally,
Fantastic
we're not
heal.
killing 4 of our own followers, though.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's just,
I feel like Kawi does a better job than this card,
the
honestly.
heal isn't enough to be relevant. So I mean, the stat line is pretty ridiculous, though. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, 5/7.
But it has like
So-
some
Yeah,
major
there-
downsides.
So here's my problem with it. There are some good 5/7s in Shadowcraft. Preferably Goblin Mount Demon or other cards that destroy all allied Shadowcraft followers. Like
I think this
it
card is
comes
a lot
down
better than Goblin
It's a
Mount.
5/9.
Well, no, I'm saying that Goblin Mount will be a bit more useful on like those board states in the deck. I think you'd play Dead Morose. I don't think that the deck is gonna play really either, right? Like,
I think that the deck that plays this card is the neutral ledger deck, where you're either where the cards you put out are either neutral followers that you don't mind playing, or cards with last word create a lich. And then when this hits the board, it's only going to destroy your last words create a lich card, and suddenly your opponent's looking at maybe like a 4/4, a 5/7, and then all your other neutral cards, and you even gain a life. Like that seems nuts to me. Like, this card is just so big, I can't imagine this not finding a home somewhere. Like, this is an Evo Albert, except you don't have to Evo. It's just that big.
Yeah, it's huge in size.
yeah, I guess I'm underestimating his large ability. I guess if you have enough good neutrals, which you should do. So
Which
No,
you
it's
should,
probably
right? Yeah.
You should. Okay.
They just printed a bunch.
We got Dark Alice next. It's a 7-mana 5/5. Last words: banish all allied Shadowcraft cards in play and summon Dark Alice at the start of your next turn. Banish all Shadowcraft cards in your hand and in your deck. I see some cool theory crash for this, but like it really needs some playtesting, honestly.
So
To
it's
sum
Mordecai
up-
that's not really Mordecai.
Yeah, basically it's Mordecai, and when it for 7 mana, and when it dies, all that's left in your deck and hand and play are
It's
going
just
to be neutral cards. So some of the initial ideas that got thrown around with this card were you're going to play this in just an average shadow deck that like looks to curve out, and on turn 7 you play Dark Alice. When she dies, you have a bunch of 8 through 10 drops on your neutral cards that you're looking to play. You could say Grimnir or Israfil or Bahamut, and once she dies, all of your cards are great, and you just draw them, and you're guaranteed to draw them, and you're gonna have enough mana to play them.
You draw Bahamut on 8, do nothing with your turn.
Yeah, I don't like the deck. I think this is actually the incorrect way to build this deck. I think the best thing you can do with this card right now is put her as like a 1 or 2 of in a mid shadow deck. You're still playing Ector because that card is silly, and so sometimes you're going to draw your Dark Alice, you play it, and then it's gonna die, and all you're gonna be left with in your deck is a whole bunch of Grimnirs. I think that's a better way to play this deck.
But the thing is that you lose if you run out of cards.
Yeah,
Yes,
it's pretty much like a last ditch finisher kind of thing.
Yeah,
So
how
you
often
need
do
to have-
you lose after playing triple back-to-back Grimnirs, though?
Oh
Well,
man,
you
now
can
you're
only
thinking
play 2 of
JaZe. Don't get
You'd
into
only
that
be able
here.
to play 2 though, because you wouldn't die on the turn you drawed your third.
Yeah, you get to draw the third.
Interesting
and
counter
play
to
it.
this card though. If that deck becomes popular, then Runecraft with Sammy becomes god tier.
Alright, I don't think that card ever gets played anyways.
Alright, let's
I
move on to
would
the
say-
next legendary then.
The Corpse Lord of Woe. It's a 4-mana 4/4. Can attack at the start of your turn. Use Necromancy 6. Evolve this follower. Can attack.
Bad.
Whoa.
And then last words, you summon like another Corpse Lord of Woe. It's like
Whoa.
it's
This
basically a
is
Mordecai.
the ginger of this expansion. It feels like.
This
Dude,
is
dude,
not
look,
the
look,
Jin-
look at this guy.
Ginger.
This guy looks exactly how excited I am to play this card. Look at him.
He's tied to
It's
his
terrible.
table.
What? It's not even like an overstated 4-drop.
Yeah.
My problem with it is that it somehow competes with Dragoncraft for worst legendaries of the set.
Yeah.
That's
Ba-
all it's
basically.
doing.
Okay,
It-
let's move on to
Poor
Blood
guy.
Bowl then. We got
Two more
Anybody that
classes to
opens
go.
this.
yeah, we got 2 more classes to go. Both of these should be like relatively fast. We got Tove. It's a 2-mana 3/3. It can attack when an allied neutral follower comes into play. This follower gains rush and can attack. And that's
I like it.
basically it.
I mean,
I'm not
I think
feeling
that
it.
it's good on curve. It's good on curve in Bloodcraft. You just get to beat your opponent in the face, and Bloodcraft is so good at having good early aggression. A lot of the neutrals are really good. You can curve it into Angel Word. It's sweet.
But the
You'll
thing
get
is,
attacked
like,
by it.
The
Well, and
like
even-
the 2-drops.
Even if you're playing this off curve on 4 with like a double 2-drop scenario, this
You
is
get
like a baby
rush.
Gino.
Yeah, it's adorable. Do you see that?
This
I don't know what a
card's
Tove is.
I'm actually
With-
quite disturbed how like such an adorable card is in Bloodcraft anyway.
When you Google Tove, it just says Tovlo. This is a Swedish singer. also adorable, but I don't. Is that an anteater? It's so cute.
Dude, that's 100% it. Either.
Yeah. One thing I realized in Wonderland Dreams is that they have a lot of these cards that can't attack uninvolved.
Yeah,
for
I
some
know.
reason.
That seems to be like a recurring theme.
They're trying to balance it differently.
Let's go on to
Okay,
the next one.
we got a Disagreeable
My
Demon.
rating.
It's a 3-mana 2/3. Fanfare, gain ward if an enemy follower is in play. Gain +2/+0 and deal 2 damage to your leader if no enemy follower is in play.
I want somebody to tell me that this card is good, but I'm going to come out the gate swinging saying that it doesn't do anything particularly well. It's
Yeah.
like if you're behind it, it's Grimnir in a. I mean, nobody plays Grimnir for its like amazingly skilled body. If you're ahead, it's like okay. I don't know how many times you're going to be this far ahead on turn 3 without trading anyway.
And I mean, the other like 3-drop cards in Blood are really, really good. So
Yep.
I have like trouble
As much
finding
as
a
I
place
would
for
like to
it.
disagree, I think
Stars, you're our aggro captain. Please inform me if this is good or not. I want to like it, but I don't.
Stars.
Oh, Monsters.
well. Well, maybe
Oh,
I can
well.
say something for it. I actually like this card a fair bit because getting a 2/3 ward for 3 mana isn't a disaster. And if you're playing against a more controlling deck, you get the 4/3, and that's gonna hit really hard. Like maybe this sees play.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Okay. Up next we got Big Knuckle Bodyguard. It's a 4-mana 3/4. Fanfare, destroy an enemy follower with 3 defense or less, and deal 2 damage to your leader if vengeance is not active for you.
This card is
I think
insane.
it's really good.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Priest is exceptional.
I feel like Blood really needed a card like this.
Yeah, it affects the board really early. It's a 2-for-1 when you evolve it. It helps you trigger vengeance more reliably. It doesn't kill you when you have vengeance already. Like, this does so many things so well. I don't even know like what kind of blood deck I'd have to be playing to not want 3 of this in there.
Yeah, I mean you can just put this alongside with Belphegor in the fall.
Yeah. Like this card is on the power level of Belphegor, I'd say, and that's a huge statement.
Yeah, no, it's really good.
Insane. We don't even need to talk about this actually. This is just so good.
Okay, let's move on to Demon Key then. It's a 3-mana amulet, countdown 5. Whenever a leader takes damage during your turn, subtract 1 from this amulet's countdown. Last words at the start of your next turn, randomly put one of the highest cost followers into your hand into play.
I think it's kind of a meme. It looks good, but I don't know if it is good.
Like
it feels like a meme.
Could have potential, but like, I don't know.
You can like Belphegor into like something huge. You can Belphegor into like Bahamut.
You have to actually do a bunch of instances of damage to yourself, I think.
It's subtract 1 for. Okay, yeah. It's awful.
Okay, let's move on then.
It doesn't do the thing you want it to do.
Ken has read wrong. No, I thought it was like probably decent, but not good enough.
Whenever it takes damage, right? So if you take 10, it's still like subtract 1 of this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nope.
Yeah, there's no way to like abuse it, which is better for the game.
Next.
Okay, we got Bandersnatch, a 5-mana 4/5 with Rush, enhanced 7, gain last words. At the start of your next turn, put a follower that costs at least 6 play points from your deck into play. What do you guys think?
I think
start
it's
of the
a
next
decent
turn.
Card.
Yeah, start of the turn is pretty good.
Yeah, the Rush is really powerful as well.
Question, does that card is that card able to attack, like the one that gets summoned out by the...
I do not think so.
I don't think so, right?
It should be summoning sick.
So
yeah, it can't attack.
Yeah, this is a very card.
Well, actually, you know what? Can you just like tutor like Implancer? So you can like double Implancer turn 6.
As you
you also have
can't because this is an enhanced 7.
You have to think about this though.
Okay, never mind.
The thing is that when a card's getting put straight from your deck into play, it doesn't get its fanfare. And a lot of the 7 and higher cost cards tend to have kind of mess stats traded for fanfare abilities.
Mm-hmm.
So I would personally rather play Baphomet instead of Bandersnatch.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds reasonable. Alright, up next we got Scarlet Saboteur. It's a 5-mana 2/4 with Bane, Fanfare, deal 2 damage to an enemy, then restore a 2 defense to your leader.
I love this card. This card does so many things. It combines Wardrobe Raider and Righteous Devil into like one card and doesn't demand an Evo point.
Yeah, I really love this card as well.
That's actually crazy.
It's really fucking good.
It's pretty legit.
I liked it as well because it doesn't require vengeance, so it's not like Righteous Devil where you need the vengeance to be able to be good enough. And because you're not in vengeance, it doesn't matter that you're not getting the drain effect. And you also gain the life anyways. It's just good. Everything about it's good. Art's good. Card's good.
Okay.
Love this
Name's good. Waifu's good. Kill him with a sword.
Let's move on to the Boy Who Cried Wolf, a 2-mana 3/1. Can't be attacked by followers with 1 attack. I think this card's playable.
Yeah, I think this is a decent card. It's going to kill you really, really fast. I'm sure Stars can appreciate that.
This card.
It dies to pings though, so you have to be careful.
Yeah.
I think Angel of the Word is gonna be a highly played card this expansion, and that's gonna make this card very, very sad.
I thought that.
But until then,
I didn't like it much. I think that all the 2-drops in that deck are already so good that I don't feel like I want to extend myself into the ranges of like possibly losing because my 2-drop got blown up on turn 2, and then I lost all my tempo.
I guess it's just pretty neat against Forestcraft, right? I mean, all the fairies can't touch it.
Well, but the thing is,
but they can May
yeah,
it.
the May is like a
May
huge
keeps it,
problem.
You know what else is pretty neat against Forestcraft because all your fairies can't touch your creatures? A 1/4 with Ward.
Yes.
Yeah.
the thing is, if you can get this set up behind a Spiderweb Imp, this can push a lot of damage very quickly.
You could always do that with Serpent Charmer though.
Ooh, yeah, you're right.
So yeah, like a 3-power 2-mana card with a drawback already exists. Like, I don't think
But the
this
self-damage
significantly
is
outclasses that.
The 2-drop slot.
The
for
self-damage
Blood
is
has
relevant.
so many good cards.
Alright,
Yeah.
next one.
Okay, we got Furtive Fangs. It's a 1-mana spell. Choose an allied neutral follower. Whenever that follower attacks an enemy follower, destroy that enemy follower before it can deal any damage in return until the end of the turn. I think it's pretty good.
Nah. Has to be a neutral. I don't want to put neutrals in my blood deck right now.
It's kind of like, what is it, that Medusa's Gaze
Yeah,
thing?
it is like
Yeah.
Medusa's Gaze. Which actually,
1 mana
isn't it in
flip.
blood?
Yeah.
I think so.
Okay.
I mean, this is
I've never
a
seen it
very
played.
powerful card. It just, what neutrals are we trying to put into our blood deck? We have-
Only like Lyrials and things like that, and that's in an aggro deck that I don't want Furtive Fangs in.
But
It
why
doesn't
would you-
line up.
Why would you put this on? Like, why would you play this over Medusa's Gaze, which is the same mana cost but can affect?
Medusa's
anything?
Gaze is 2 mana.
Oh, it is too. I thought it was 1.
Yeah. I mean, it just
Okay,
doesn't
so
matter.
it's-
I don't like.
It's-
I don't want to
it's a
put
bit
neutral
more
2-drops in my Dark Air Jammer deck. No thanks.
Yeah. Okay, next.
Okay, we got Phantom Cat. It's a 6-mana 5/5. Fanfare, draw 2 cards and deal 2 damage to the enemy leader for each neutral card drawn.
Man.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that sums up
Yeah,
that
it just-
card.
It just doesn't do enough. Drawing cards is nice. Whatever.
I liked it, but I'm not sure if it lines up with how I want to be playing. So I'm gonna have to test it. I think that the extra damage could literally not be written on there, and drawing 2 cards for 6 mana and control might be good enough. But it's hard to say.
Eh.
Late game, you
I think
can like
it can do better.
play it and kill your opponent sometimes, maybe. It's tough though. Tough to see. I might test it. It's probably bad though.
Alright, we got Emeralda, Demonic Officer. 7-mana 4/5. Fanfare, destroy an enemy follower or amulet. Gain Storm if Vengeance is active for you.
So
Like-
it's kind of a better version of Alucard.
Yes,
It's
but you don't get to
kind of
heal
worse.
too, so...
Yeah.
I really
It's-
like Alucard better.
Like really good.
Odin?
I like
It's really good.
Soul Dominator is better than this too, in my opinion.
Really?
Yeah.
I think this is a lot better than Soul Dominator because it can
I don't.
clear out. It can kill something. It just
Yeah.
nothing's dead.
I mean, it can like kind of destroy a ward and then push through for 4 as well.
Okay, 2 things. It kills 2 things because it gets the storm effect. So if you're playing a control list, you can kill both things. Because some of us like to play control and not aggro. And then the other thing is that it's got 4 attack, which means that you can still play Baphomet so that you can tutor for your control win conditions, which means you get the best of both worlds because you get to play it. It doesn't get tutored, which means you're not messing with your tutor effects. It's sweet. Destroy an enemy follower, not to be trifled with. It's a powerful effect. I'm excited to play it.
Yeah, it seems good in control.
Okay, up next we got Lethal Blade, a 3-mana spell, and choose an enemy follower. Whenever that follower attacks, it will deal 3 damage to itself. If Vengeance is active for you, give this effect to all enemy followers instead.
It's a weird card.
It is
I don't
really weird.
understand that.
I think it's significant. I think it's too weak to play without Vengeance because it's 3 damage and it's delayed.
And even then, why would you play that over Revelation?
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you have Vengeance, why aren't you playing Revelation? If you don't have Vengeance, this isn't even a card that I want to play anyways. It just doesn't seem that good to me.
Same here.
Exact note text in my document. Why though? Why?
though? Okay.
Why though? Why?
Yeah, I mean, that doesn't work, man. Like, even if you play on Aegis, no.
Alright.
Yuck.
Up next, we got Spawn of the Abyss, 8-mana, 6/7, with Ambush. Whenever this follower attacks, deal 6 damage to the enemy leader if Ambush is active for this follower. Last words, deal 6 damage to the enemy leader if Ambush is active for this follower.
Wait, what? How does
It
doesn't it
does-
lose ambush on attack?
Yes.
I think it'll do 6 damage if it attacks out of ambush, is what it's trying to say.
Okay. Eh.
Let me
Well,
pull
actually,
it
you know
up
what?
in a second.
Can't you just like tutor this with Baphomet and like
Yeah,
play
so
this like
this
super
can be
early?
tutored by Baphomet and Bandersnatch, and so people have been theory crafting a deck where you basically just pull this out of the deck or hand for really cheap and play several copies of these in a single game. I think that deck is so slow. Like
Very slow.
that seems like
Yeah.
a slower win condition to me than Aegis. And
Then
do you really want to be slower than
All
Aegis?
of the other like blood win conditions, to be honest.
Yeah, you can just
this-
OTK somebody.
Well, I mean, this would even just serve better in just a mid-range deck with maybe like Blood Hungry Matriarch into curving and ending in Spawn of the Abyss. And you just curve out basically, and then this threatens 12 damage lethal, if I'm reading the card right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Also, if they have a non-banishing removal on your ambushed guy, they still take the 6. So you can set up some turns where they're damned if they do, damned if they don't. But again,
What?
it is like you have to curve into it in mid-range, otherwise it's kind of bad. If you're tutoring for it, it's probably not great unless you're like Baphometing for it, and then you need to find a time to get it down on the board where you're in an efficient spot. I mean, it might be okay. 12's a lot.
I think ultimately it's just a guaranteed 6 damage, right? That's about it.
Yeah. Okay, I guess we'll move on to the next legendary in Bloodcraft.
Yeah.
Karabos.
This is a tough
Wicked
one.
Fairy,
Jesus.
6-mana, 6/6. Fanfare, for the remainder of this match, you will not gain play points at the start of your turn. For the remainder of this match, draw a card and deal 1 damage to the enemy leader at the end of your turn. These effects will continue.
This card is
even if
so
it leaves
good.
the area. Yeah, it's really good. And also, like, it doesn't really have any downsides because you're not playing like cards that cost more than 6 mana. So
This is face.
yeah.
All
Oh, yeah.
face.
I love this card.
I don't
I'm
know if
excited
this card
to
is
try it.
face. This card can also be played in control. Also, this card is thighs, not face.
I'm never putting this in a control deck. I don't like. You have to wait till turn 10 to play your 6-drop. No. Like, is this better than Satan? Is this better than Bahamut? I just don't think so. So I think it's only aggro, but you're gonna be very happy to put this card in your aggro deck because
With aggro, I would probably trim the Soul Dominators out of my aggro deck and just cut the curve at Implancers into this.
Yeah,
And then,
max out at 6.
Yeah, it ends at 6, boys.
Seems good. Okay, we're moving on to the last class, actually, which is going to be Havencraft. We got Monk of Purification, which I think is like pretty good for Atlantis, actually. It has a fanfare. Put 2 Messenic Holy Waters into your hand.
I think it's too slow. You have to pay 10 mana to get the full effect, and that's just not reasonable in this day and
isn't
age.
like Elana's like already like pretty slow?
Yeah, it's pretty slow, but you have to make up for that with cards that do things right away, like Radiance Angel, which basically is 1 mana less, plays one of the Holy Waters for you for free, and you don't get the other Holy Water, sure, but like...
Well, even then,
why this card?
Retribution, or Judge of Retribution is still better than this card.
Yeah, Judge of Retribution is better than this card. I think everything is better than this card, unfortunately, and that's the real problem here.
I
You can play this
also
over
think-
Joan?
No. All right. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not in on that.
All right. Well, I guess we'll move on to the next card, which is Birdkeeping Disciple. It's a 4 mana 4/3. Fanfare. Put a Pinion Prayer into your hand or into play.
I'd put this in a Stormhaven deck probably, but
Yeah.
almost certainly nowhere else.
This is gonna be very good in
I don't even
Stormhaven.
know if you would do that, because I mean,
I mean,
think this
don't
is
put
just
this in
worse than
Stormhaven.
Veteran Tamer.
I like this more than Veteran Tamer,
Yeah.
honestly, because the body you get right away is good. Like, the body you get right away is pretty close to a Tiger. And then you get a Storm Follower later on the Joan turn. I think that's fine.
I don't
yeah,
know.
but the thing is, you gotta spend the Eva on the bird to like Joan there.
Sure, but that's 6 face damage.
Yeah.
It's worth it, IMO.
Okay. Speaking of tigers, we got the white tiger next. It's a 3 mana 3/2 with the ward. It can't be targeted by enemy spells and effects. This is probably just gonna see play.
I don't think this sees any play.
Is
It
it?
dies to 2 mana 2/2s.
I don't know, like,
and just
It's
Yeah,
it's playable,
if it
but
was- If it was a 2/3, it would be broken.
Yeah, I agree on that. Like,
yeah, I would be very upset to play against this if it were 2/3.
Yeah, 3/2 just dies too easily, despite having the so-called the spell protections.
I guess you're right.
I mean, it means your opponent can't play Grimnir into it, which, whenever I play Grimnir versus Haven, they always have Black and Scriptures.
Yeah,
I mean,
you just.
sure.
I'm not a fan of it. Not my style.
All right.
Okay.
Who we got
next.
next?
We got Temple of Inquisition. It's a 2 mana amulet, countdown 5. Whenever an enemy follower is destroyed, subtract a 1 from this amulet's countdown. Last word to draw 3 cards.
This is bad.
On 8, you can play this
Yeah.
Themis a full board and draw 3 cards.
I guess, but you already have like a ton of draw effects in Haven, and I really don't think you need more.
This
especially
card is
not-
worse than Sacred Plea.
Yeah, I already don't like running Sacred Play, but I gotta run it anyway.
Okay, you crazy, but
Dude,
you
all right. Maybe just because Sacred Play doesn't give me anything good.
oh, okay. This card bad. Next.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. Yeah.
Okay, we got March Hare's Tea Time. It's a 5 mana amulet, countdown 4, summon a Tin Soldier, and last word, summon a Tin Soldier.
It curves very nicely into Garuda, which I really like.
Yeah, I like this card way better than the other Tin Soldier card.
Yeah, this is
this
much
card
better.
is literally nuts with another card that will be coming down the pipe. So
Yeah,
coming down the pipe, hot with
This
that
card's
hype.
pretty interesting.
with Garuda, this card's really, really good.
Yeah. I think this card is unplayable without some kind of countdown reduction, though, because you're waiting until turn 9 to get your other soldier. That's like Aegis turn. You already won the game.
Yeah.
Play something that does better effects.
Okay. Up next, we got Tenko. It's a 5 mana 4/5. Whatever an allied follower attacks, restore 1 defense to your leader.
Absolutely disgusting in Alana's and
Alana.
probably
No, it's the
unplayable
real deal.
anywhere else.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's a lot of views.
in Alana, your opponent's gonna play this, and then they're gonna kill you.
Oh,
and you're
wait,
gonna
so-
look like a donkey.
Okay, I totally
No,
misread
'cause-
this.
It's an OTK card, right?
You should be able to evolve. I think you can evolve it and then immediately trigger.
Yeah,
Your
you
opponent-
evolve it, and
Yeah.
it immediately
this basically-
triggers.
This basically
And-
just turns Haven or Lana's Haven into an OTK deck.
Yeah, like the amount of life you'll be gaining in a single turn off of this card, if your board survives, is probably lethal.
You can also
That's-
just have Kel. You can like play Kel, and then play
Oh.
Tenko, and then
Oh,
your
that's-
Oh,
opponent
no.
dies. No,
Dude, it's so
no,
good.
I'm sorry I
Wait,
said that
okay.
on stream. Everybody
Maybe-
that hasn't left to open packs, you've learned the new tech, Alana Haven Tier 1. You're just gonna play Kel. You're gonna murder your opponent. They're gonna get completely
Shit.
slaughtered.
Oh,
Alright,
all right, dude.
I-
I
I
love
try
this
that.
card now. Holy shit.
I'm gonna try that. That's actually nuts.
Yeah, I let the cat out the bag. Sorry, guys, but that's how you win games. Just
Alright.
slaughter everybody.
We got Eagle Man next. It's a 6 mana 4/5 with the ward. Whenever an allied neutral follower comes into play, subtract 1 from this card's cost. I had originally thought this card was good, but like thinking on it,
You have to go 2-drop neutral into 3-drop neutral into this card. That seems too unlikely. Anything else, you're getting like a 5 mana 4/5 ward, and that's bad. You don't want to play that card.
basically.
Yeah, you just. I'm not in on it.
Yeah, nah.
Not at all.
Okay. Well, we got Haiti next. It's a 6 mana 3/7 fanfare. Gain a rush and bane if an ally, or if an evil enemy follower is in play.
Haiti.
6 mana Haven card. It's not John. It's not Themis. It's not.
It's not Moon.
What's the other one?
It's not Garuda.
It's not
No.
Judge. It's not Moon. It's not Garuda. This card is bad. We're not gonna play it.
Okay.
I mean, like, it's not that bad, but we're just not gonna play it.
Yeah, they're just better cards.
We got
Yep.
Noise, Red Branch Knight next. It's a 2 mana 2/2 fanfare. Until the start of your next turn, your leader cannot receive more than 3 damage at a time. Interesting.
It protects you against like certain OTKs and pretty much does nothing else. I think this card is not that good.
Just a tech
Yeah.
card, I believe.
Yeah, it's almost certainly
It's
a
not
tech
even
card.
good against the classes that it saves your life against.
I know.
Because
Yeah.
they can just do it next turn.
That's
Or,
my
like
problem with it
Roche,
as well.
They just Sylvan Justice it.
They don't have to Sylvan Justice it. They can just pass the turn and say, I have even more damage next turn.
Yeah, but
I don't think this card's seeing play. Maybe if you insist on playing Haven into a metagame full of combo decks, and your Haven deck is also aggressive enough to take advantage of the free turn that you get.
It's
This
not.
doesn't seem like a real deck.
And honestly, it doesn't.
Alright.
Okay, we got Alice's Adventure next. It's a 2 mana amulet. Whenever an allied neutral follower comes into play, subtract 1 from the countdown of all allied amulets.
I'm fairly sure this card is awful.
I'm also,
Yeah.
Try to. Okay,
I don't know.
here's the true test. Try to construct your dream hand with this card, and then realize that you could have just played like Hollow
Anything
Dogma
else.
and done better. Like, I don't see this card ever seeing play.
Yeah.
Maybe as a meme
Every-
combo of sorts, but no.
every time I look at it, I think I can OTK my opponent by saving enough neutral followers that cost low amounts so that I can combo kill my opponent with Seraph, and then I realize I can already do that and move on with my life. It just feels so bad. I don't know. It's awful. It's bad.
Yeah.
Okay, up next we have Odette, the twin to the other card that we talked about earlier. There's not really much more we could say about this card, right? I mean,
It's the
it's
better half.
Not that good IMO. I think this is the worst half by a lot.
I think
Yeah,
the
the black
Alana's
cup
gonna
is
be
better.
really. I think the Alana's gonna be good enough that this half is better.
yeah, I was kind of on the same page with
It's
Glass
got-
on this one.
It's got better stats because it's gonna be a 6/5, and then you're gonna trade with the other guy, and then it's gonna get healed because it heals itself.
Yeah.
And it heals your board, and your minions are already gonna. All your followers are already like really big. because you're playing Alana, but that might be Winmore. Alana Winmore.
Yeah.
It's a 6-mana Haven card.
Our opponent's just gonna be dead by this time. Yeah, you're right. We're just gonna kill him.
Okay, let's move on.
Temco.
Right, the
Smart.
legendaries now.
Yeah, we got Princess Snow White. It's a 2-mana 1/2. It's basically going to be like an auto include in almost every Haven deck.
Yep.
IMO. The card's really, really good.
Yeah, when
As
it
is
when
the
it
next
dies,
card.
it becomes a 2/3. So this card actually eats a Grimnir. Like this is a 2-drop that fights with the Grimnir and comes out alive with the Grimnir dead. Think
Fights
about
with a
that for a
Grimnir,
moment.
Wins.
Think about that for a moment and realize that this card is insane. I can't imagine ever wanting to play less than 3 of these. Like, this is just so good.
I think
Plus this,
it will just fit in all archetypes of the deck, right? I mean, you just play it no matter
Yeah.
what.
Yeah, it's like
plus
cudgel.
this
You just
is
put
an
it in every
evolved
deck.
follower on turn 3.
Oh,
You
man.
can play hounds on turn 3 that are 2/4 with ward.
Oh,
This is
I didn't think about
disgusting.
that. That's
yeah,
good.
that completely went over my head.
This is
All
why
right.
you do all the sick lethals.
This is awesome.
You never fail to put 3 in a deck, I think. I think it's that good.
Yeah, it's like an auto include 3 of. Okay, up next we got Lion of the Golden City. It's a 7-mana 5/5 fanfare. Put an amulet that costs 5 play points or less from your hand into play, then destroy the amulet whenever an allied neutral follower comes into play. Subtract 1 from this card's cost.
So
I think this card's really good. But then again, I like
I-
Eidolon, so
Mm.
have you ever read the card? It says it's called March Hare's Tea Time.
yeah.
We talked about that earlier. You want to put
yeah,
two,
yeah.
two, three,
Before-
fours, and
before
a
we
5/5
go-
in play?
Before we go too far into this, doesn't put into play not trigger fanfares?
Yep.
Yes.
Doesn't that not work then?
Does it not work? That makes me sad. I guess then
So,
we
yeah,
just get this
I thought
six
this card
dragon, right?
Yeah, it's like the 6/6 dragon. But like, okay, see, my problem with this card is that it makes you want to run amulets that aren't good otherwise. Like, the best thing I can do with this is like dual flame or whatever the 2 4/4s
6
is.
holy winged
But that
dragons.
card, no.
I guess, yeah. It's got such sick art though. Why
yeah,
can't it be
it
good?
has. I love the art. I love the potential of the card. I don't want to put this card in my deck so that I have to put other bad cards into my deck, and then I have to put neutral followers into my deck, and then I can occasionally cheat and win the game. I don't like that kind of deck building. I don't think.
So
I'll
you're
be playing this.
saying it's an Eidolon, eh?
I think it's a lot better than Eidolon.
I feel like they always add like a legendary follower that's similar to this, like every expansion, minus like DE.
I think this is the most viable of their cards so far.
I like that Bible. No.
Nope. This is much better. You can just put this in, like you can just put this in a deck and you can play your Arya off of it, and that's not bad.
Yeah,
It's
okay.
just not that impressive either.
The tears, man.
All right.
All right.
I
That,
think
that was,
we've
yeah. That's actually like our last card in the review.
What the